Starseed Conqueror, 10,000 times rewards, Frigate destroys stars. Episode 61. Does this first-level civilization dare not care about the warnings of the fourth-level civilization? A torrent of thousands of plasma rays bombarded the shield of the ultra-small miniature battlestar. The terrifying heat and power of the continuous plasma torrent made the shield of the miniature battlestar 30 kilometers in diameter flicker continuously. Shield values also keep decreasing. Curvature-engined missiles flew almost instantaneously at 5 times the speed of light. The Barbarians' battleships surrounding the miniature battlestar fire interceptor lasers to intercept most of them, but several curvature-engine missiles still hit the shield of the miniature battlestar. Rumble. Huge explosions flickered in space. The shield of the miniature battlestar flashed a few times in an instant, and then burst violently. Damn. Norton Black slammed his fist into the control face in front of him. The shield of the miniature battlestar shattered. With him as a third-level civilization, it was still too difficult to resist the attack of 3 third-level civilizations alone. At the same time, Norton Black was also thinking in his heart how good it would be if he controlled the real planet Battlestar. Instead of this miniature battlestar, whether it is size, or defense, it is far less than 1% of the real Battlestar. The real Battlestar has a space warp force field shield. No matter what attack you have in a third-level civilization, it is basically impossible to break through the space warp force field shield. The number of warships of the 3 third-level civilizations is more than 6 times that of the Barbarians' Elephant Civilization warships. The Barbaronian Elephant Civilization confronted the other side with more than 1,000 warships and more than 6,000 warships. Commander, let's withdraw. Fleet losses have exceeded 30%. A voice came from his ears, and Norton Black gritted his teeth, feeling the vibrations of the battlestar under his feet as he continued to be attacked by the other side. Can't withdraw. The Great Qin Empire still needs our help. The Great Qin Empire is only a first-level civilization. They have 4 third-level civilization fleets on their side to attack them. They didn't say withdraw. We are a real third-level civilization. In this universe mixed for hundreds of years, what face to say withdraw? Norton Black had a sinister expression and roared, "Energy hub overload. Increase the energy output and raise the shield again. Even if we evacuate, we will have to withdraw after the Great Qin Empire has safely withdrawn. They are only a first-class civilization, and now that the loss may have exceeded 70%, we must buy time for their retreat." Although the miniature battlestar is not a real battlestar, it can still resist for a long time with its own armored resistance. In space, the Barbaronian fleet was caught in a bitter battle. Every Barbarian's warship faced at least 6 enemy warships. Energy rays, plasma torrents, faster-than-light missiles. All kinds of super-powerful weapons attack you and me. From time to time, the energy shield of a battleship is broken by a large-caliber kinetic energy impact electromagnetic shell. The battleship armor was hit, causing fragmentation. Every Barbarian's battleship seemed to be in a dead end. They struggled to hold on, but most of them controlled the battleship to continue fighting, and did not lose the will to fight. "Emperor, you must withdraw." Norton Black gritted his teeth and made up his mind to die. "We can't let the sacrifices of 1,000,000 people go in vain. You saved the lives of more than 1,000,000 people in our fleet, helping us to get out of the migration channel. Now, it's time to give it back to you. Prepare to start the miniaturized Battlestar's central energy engine backup overload energy." Norton Black's eyes were red and he roared. There is a limit to the overload of a miniature Battlestar's central energy engine. Once this limit is exceeded, the value of the overload, then, there will be an explosion. And it was an explosion with an incomparably wide range. The scope of the explosion covered hundreds of thousands of kilometers around it, and there was no problem. From here, Norton Black's idea is self-evident. However, at this moment, a surprise roar came out of his ears. "Commander, there is a communication from the side of the Great Qin Empire, and they are out of trouble." "Out of trouble?" Norton Black was ecstatic. "How did they get out of trouble?" hurriedly asked. The adjutant under his command just opened his mouth and said 2 words, and then the whole person froze. "You say?" Norton Black was in a hurry. In this situation, every minute and second is critical, and you are still stunned? "Commander, you see for yourself." The adjutant's face was filled with utter shock. Norton Black directly turned in the remote observation screen. At a glance, his eyes widened and he could no longer speak, only to see the opposite side of the Great Qin Empire fleet. Fleets of 4 third-level civilizations, covering an area of hundreds of thousands of kilometers around them. Tens of thousands of enemy warships are hovering in space. The engine goes out and the energy shield disappears, like a deep graveyard of dead silence, gradually falling apart. Tens of thousands of warships all began to disintegrate, turning into nothingness. Norton Black was completely stunned. Not only him, but even the 3 enemy fleets that were attacking the Barbarians' Elephant Civilization were all sluggish. Naturally, they observed this incomparably terrifying scene. After the silent gravitational waves passed, the 4 third-level civilizations, adding up to tens of thousands of warships, were destroyed in an instant. No explosions, no dazzling lights. It gradually disappeared into space. Fourth-level civilization. This is a microscopic weapon of a fourth-level civilization. The respective leaders of the third-level civilization fleet all shouted in horror in the middle of the flagship bridge. Their Interstellar Convention organization is backed by the fourth-level civilization of the Athos Empire. How could it not be seen that this was a weapon of the fourth-level civilization? But they could not get the material support of the fourth-level civilization, because they were just pirates raised by the upper echelons of the fourth-level civilization. Withdraw. All warships, immediately withdraw from the battlefield and retreat into the hub galaxy. The defensive station at the edge of the hub galaxy is the Athos Empire, the Grand Duke of Jardin's guard fleet. As long as we get there, we'll be safe. In an instant, the two sides completely attacked and defended. The remaining three third-level civilization fleets, which had been attacking the barbarians' elephant fleet, began to frantically withdraw from the battlefield at this moment. Even turn on the curvature engine on the spot. At least 100 enemy warships were attacked by Barbaronian warships while turning on their curvature engines. Then the explosion was destroyed on the battlefield. They're going to run. Can't let them run. Chase, chase. Norton Black reacted violently in shock and roared and gave orders. Can't let the other person run. Hundreds of curvature engine rays flew out of the battlefield quickly. The Barbaronian fleet, which had been in a dead position, also immediately activated the curvature engine in its entirety. Huge space battleships suddenly entered a state of curvature. It is also transformed into a colored streamer that exceeds the speed of light. Chase away. On the other side, Qin Sheng, who had just solved the enemy's situation, saw the situation. I can't care less about the system prompts that ring out. Too late to check how many rewards he had received, Qin Sheng immediately ordered the fleet to enter a state of curvature and pursue. Kill everything, cut the grass to remove the roots, slaughter to the end. Outside the Yado's hub galaxy, the curvature of several trunk roads shines almost invisibly across space. The curvature bubble's glow is radiant. The leaders of the three third-level civilizations were all in a hurry. Damn. Sure enough, that great Qin Empire was indeed not a first-class civilization. How come their curvature is so fast? The battlefield is only a few 100 million kilometers away from the hub galaxy. With the curvature speed of 8 times the speed of light of the three third-level civilizations, it can be reached in 2 minutes. But they found that the curvature speed of the Imperial fleet that was constantly chasing them behind them was even faster than theirs, up to 10 times the speed of light. The distance between the two sides is constantly getting closer. In this way, before they reach the hub galaxy, they will be able to intercept them in an instant before they reach them. No, you have to call for support. The leaders of the three third-level civilization fleets all used a precious number of cries for help at the same time. Grand Duke Jardin of the Athos Empire had promised them, although he could not give them technical help. However, they have a hard time running to the edge of the hub galaxy and then calling for help from the guard fleet at the edge of the Athos hub galaxy. As long as it is near the hub galaxy, the Imperial fleet of Athos would come to shield them. Really? In less than 10 seconds, including the three third-level civilization fleets, the Great Qin Empire and the Barbarians fleet all received communications from within the hub galaxy. All the fleets ahead, you are about to enter the hub galaxy of the Athos Empire. Stop all disputes. Within the hub of the Athos Empire, all battles are forbidden. Stop now. After receiving the communication, the leaders of the three third-level civilizations were all relieved. Qin Sheng's brow furrowed deeply. As for those who provoked him, if he did not kill them all and slaughter them all, his future thoughts would not be able to reach. There will be a disturbing conscience. But, the fourth-level civilization, the Athos Empire, was obviously not something he could afford to mess with. Do you still want to chase? Qin Sheng gritted his teeth. Pursue. Anyway, it hasn't really entered the hub galaxy yet. On the surface, as long as you hurry up and catch up with the other party, you will kill all three third-level civilizations on the other side. Then it is not a violation of the rules. Because there is no real entry into the hub galaxy, the three third-level civilization leaders suddenly found that Qin Sheng had not given up the pursuit. Momentarily desperate, thousands of curvature bubble rays of 10 times the speed of light surpassed the three third-level civilization fleets in front of them, and thousands of curvature rays of 8 times the speed of light. Then there is no exit from the curvature state. One of the advantages of the weapons of the fourth-level civilization is that the battleship must withdraw from the curvature state to launch an attack without the weapons of the lower civilization. For microscopic ion decomposition cannons fired simultaneously. In an instant, thousands of streams of light overflowed, and the battleship sailing forward in a state of curvature collided with the diffuse gravitational wave. The next moment, the curvature bubble dissipates and the streamer disappears. Thousands of warships revealed their true colors. Then, in the process of high-speed progress, it disintegrated in an instant, turned into a particle, and disappeared. At this moment, a 2-kilometer-long fourth-level civilization warship that had just flown out of the hub galaxy saw the situation and instantly stopped the battleship's advance. In the middle of the battleship bridge, the security archon under the Grand Duke of Arleton gritted his teeth and felt anger in his heart. This civilization is bold. How dare they act in front of him? Wild. This is the hub galaxy of the Athos Empire. And there is also the 6th level civilization, Mibak civilization. Immediately, he was going to give the order to destroy all the warships of the civilization ahead, but Qin Sheng had already made preparations. After firing the 4th level civilization weapon under the curvature state, Qin Sheng's fleet did not withdraw from the curvature state. Thousands of streamers of curvature bubbles turn at an astonishing sharp angle, breaking through space at 10 times the speed of light in an instant. Complete the turn in an instant and quickly detach from the hub galaxy. At this time, the Barbaronian elephant civilization did not catch up with each other at all, because its speed was not as fast as Qin Sheng. It is also the farthest from the hub galaxy, with a distance of more than 300 million kilometers. Norton Black was also a quick-reacting, old fritter. Directly ordered the fleet to turn, fled out from the other direction. Before leaving, Norton Black did not forget to send a message to Qin Sheng. Emperor, don't say anything else, we'll see you again. By the way, I think you might need this information. Just fighting us are the 7 third-level civilizations of the Interstellar Convention Organization. Just now they were all destroyed, but behind them was Grand Duke Alton of the 4th level civilization Athos Empire. Here's some of the information from Archduke Jardin, and I'm sure you should need it. Far from the Barbarians' fleet of the hub galaxy, the miniature Battlestar Central Control Room, Norton Black sighed. What's that called? He himself was righteous again, and now in order to help the great Qin Empire, he himself could not enter the hub galaxy. Alas, never mind. If you don't enter, don't enter. After hundreds of years in this hub galaxy, it's time to leave and find your own organization. And it's not just this hub galaxy that has the distribution of the Holy See of Judgment. It's just a matter of starting from scratch. Just as Norton Black consoled himself in his heart, suddenly, his aide-de-camp reported, "Commander, I have received a reply from the Great Qin Empire. Brother Norton, the Great Qin Empire thanks you for your help this time. My emperor is not a stingy person, and he will not let your efforts this time be wasted. I have here a set of preliminary observation techniques for the microscopic universe, and I think this is what you need. That way you don't have to waste the chaos destruction voucher to redeem it. By the way, if you have time, please go to x times y times z times this three-dimensional coordinate point. I'll leave you a big gift here." Norton Blackton's eyes widened. After a moment, tears of immense emotion flowed from the corners of his eyes. Microscopic universe preliminary observation technology. Each civilization is limited to one copy. In his opinion, the emperor of the Great Qin Empire was to help him and gave him his share of the microscopic universe preliminary observation technology. For the third-level civilization that did not have enough qualifications, this was almost the only chance to be promoted to the 4th-level civilization. Just gave it to him? Norton Black's heart instantly rose with infinite admiration for Qin Sheng. He was moved beyond measure, but, in fact, it was just Norton Black who thought too much. This kind of thing, Qin Sheng's number increased by 100 times. He had a full 100 copies of the microscopic universe preliminary observation technology. Qin Sheng was worried about how to deal with it, and Qin Sheng said in his reply to Norton that it was a great gift. Refers to a true 4th-level civilization weapon, the microscopic particle decomposition cannon. In the same way, the microscopic particle decomposition cannon, Qin Sheng also had 100. After the previous weapon launch, in fact, a cannon is enough to cover hundreds of thousands of kilometers of area. One is enough to deal with ordinary third-level civilizations. Qin Sheng had 100 doors, and he was ready to send one to Norton Black. It is to leave the coordinates and places for him to go to a fixed place to pick them up later. At this moment, Qin Sheng was looking at the information that Norton had passed on to him as Grand Duke Yalton and sneered. Archduke Jartun, born from a living agricultural planet in the galaxy on the edge of the 4th-level civilization Athos Empire. Ush is fertile. It has a population of 120 billion. Is the parent star of Archduke Jartun, not the home star of the Athos Empire. Note the difference. For Qin Sheng, Grand Duke Yalton was behind the Yado Interstellar Convention organization that had just attacked him. Nature is also his enemy. As for his own enemies, Qin Sheng has always been fierce in his means. Not long ago, after Qin Sheng destroyed all the warships of the 7 third-level civilizations, he gained a huge amount of technical value. At the same time, after a 100-fold increase, the top good things are very suitable for use on the planet. Episode 62. Strength soars. A real star-destroying weapon. Fission Death Star laser cannon. Hub Galaxy on this side. Qin Sheng's fleet had been running out for more than 10 days. The security Archon reported the news of the battle outside the Hub Galaxy to Grand Duke Alton. This time is very abnormal, because the general 4th-level civilization already has some means of communication that exceed the speed of light. In addition, the 4th-level cosmic civilization, generally speaking, their political system and administrative system are also very advanced. Therefore, with the means of communication faster than light, once something happens, it is bound to be able to report it at the first time. However, the Athos Empire was different. The Athos Empire was very different from other 4th-level civilizations, and there was a complex and troublesome bureaucracy within the empire. There is even a little bit of a strong feudal meaning in it. So even if the Athos Empire had faster-than-light means of communication, it had to report upwards layer by layer. Therefore, it took more than 10 days. This information was delivered to Archduke Arden. As for the advanced civilizations in the universe, why did the Aethys Empire, as a fourth-level civilization, have a backward administrative system that the space civilization should not have? I'll talk about that later. The residence of Archduke Jardan, on the only pure living planet in the hub galaxy. It was also the new capital of the Athos Empire. As for the original capital, it was abandoned by the Athos Empire 1400 years ago. After the 6th-level civilization, the Mibak civilization, began to build a forest-carrying ball in this galaxy for the Aethys Empire. They reselected the capital here. Planet Neo-Aethys, Imperial City. The Imperial City gathered the magnates of the entire Athos Empire. They are extravagant, on this extravagant planet, in this extravagant city. Live a life of drunken dreams all day long. Even the city was not built by their civilized people themselves. Rather, it is urged to enslave other 2nd and 3rd level civilizations built. Therefore, it can be seen that many of the city facilities do not match the strength level of the 4th level civilization they should have. Most of the city's facilities are no longer well maintained, making them look dilapidated. Even the streets can occasionally be seen, being kicked and beaten by the Athosians, scrapping maintenance robots on the side of the road. The most luxurious building in Imperial City is a suspended high-rise building that uses a lot of technology and energy maintenance. In fact, the Imperial City is divided into 3 layers: upper, middle, lower, and lower. The upper level was the residence of the high-ranking magnates of the Athos Empire. They enjoy the pure sunshine and the natural and beautiful air. The entire upper floor is suspended at the very top, using a large number of expensive suspension techniques. Suspended in high-rise urban communities all day long, there lived more than 100 million people, all of them high-ranking magnates and their servants in the upper echelons of the Athos Empire. Intermediate level. It was the residence of the middle and lower nobles of the Aethys Empire. Because the superstructure is sparse, they can also enjoy some of the sunlight from the upper floor. The mid-level building complex is even more dense, obscuring the ground-level part of the Imperial City from the air. There were 300 million people living here, and it was the dwelling place of the middle and low nobles and their servants, the servants' families. And the lowest level, that is, the ground, it is obscured by the middle and superstructures all day long, and there is no daylight. Even virtual stars cannot work because they have not been maintained for a long time, and can only be like a useless metal ball hanging above the sky, under the middle building. The number of buildings throughout the lower and middle floors is comparable, but in the dense buildings below, there are exactly 12 billion people living. Most of the inhabitants were the poor people at the bottom of the Aethys Empire and other species of lower civilizations of the 2nd and 3rd orders that had previously been enslaved by them. The previously mentioned urban facilities are not maintained and are limited to the lower areas. These people can be called Imperial City Drift. They all came from other poor planets to make a living in the endless luxury of the Imperial City, but most of them can only sink into the virtual space, enjoying false luxury. The Yados Empire is an extremely abnormal 4th-level civilization that is spurned and disliked by other higher civilizations in the universe. The upper level of the Imperial City, the building of the magnates. Archduke Jardan was one of the most nobles in the entire Aethys Empire. Between the 3rd and 4,000 floors of the magnate building, he lived. It can also be called that he was in the capital of the empire, an aristocratic fief within the Imperial City. At this moment, in the 4,000th floor, a vast floor covering an area of 1 square kilometer was filled with aromas that only the special olfactory trachea of the Athos people could smell. Let every Athosian who enters here sink. Snap, snap. Loud footsteps sounded, and as soon as the security archon entered the floor, he took a deep breath. Above the whale-like head, the 6 eyes of the left and right 2 parallel columns enjoy the closure. There is a deep intoxication. It seemed to make him a little less conscious, but he can't get too caught up in it. He has something to report. Grand Duke, he shouted respectfully and softly. After a while, only then did a robot levitate. Asked, what's the matter? The 7 3rd-level civilizations of the Addo Interstellar Convention Organization, which the Grand Duke raised outside the hub galaxy, were wiped out by 2 3rd-level civilizations more than 10 days ago. The security archon replied respectfully to the robot. Wait. The robot paused for a moment and made a sound again, which was already the voice of the Archduke O'Farton. But Archduke Jardan sounded a little weak at the moment. Aren't there 2 3rd-level civilizations? Issuing a wanted warrant, casually sending 2 warships to chase them down and eliminate them. You personally lead the team. As for the fleets of the 7 3rd-level civilizations that were wiped out, if they were destroyed, they were destroyed. Just find me more 3rd-level civilizations. There are not many others in this universe. Planets, civilizations, so many, especially low civilizations, as many as cattle feathers. My Grand Duke, there is no shortage of these men. The Grand Duchy of Arleton said as if the death penalty had been imposed on the Great Qin Empire and the Barbarians' elephant civilization. The security consul wanted to say something, but the robot had begun to blast him away impatiently. Until leaving the mansion of the magnates, the security archon looked back, wanted to say and stopped, and finally could only sigh from the vocal organs. Archduke Jardin didn't even ask the names of the two civilizations he wanted to hunt down. The security consul could only go back and take a group of warships with him, and pursue them forward in the direction where the Great Qin Empire had left. Because the other party's goal is not clear, you can't use the jump engine. You can only use the ordinary curvature engine to chase the fluctuations left by the opponent's curvature engine in the space, and chase away. A total of 10 fourth-class civilization warships set off. The Athos Empire, though a fourth-level civilization, was decaying. Most battleship systems are not updated in a timely manner. As a result, they clearly had the technology to reach a conventional curvature engine that reached 50 times the speed of light, while the security Archon's warships were still using old, 25 times the speed of light curvature engine. Nevertheless, the security consul did not pay attention to it. After all, according to his idea, the opposing fleet was only 10 times the speed of light. Unless you reach the stars of the next planetary system, you cannot use the transition engine to navigate the transition channel. The closest star system to the hub galaxy is about 50 light-years away. This distance was enough for him to catch up with the fleet of the Great Qin Empire. On Qin Sheng's side, after he ran out of a distance of about 3,888.8 billion kilometers, he began to check and clean up the system prompts that had been rewarded before. You destroy the Western civilization, Class 3, frigate, and get a technical value of 1,000. You destroyed the frigate of the roadless SAS civilization and gained a technical value of 1,200. You destroyed. Tips like this, thousands, tens of thousands. Qin Sheng cleaned up all. Then look directly at how many technical points and technical rewards you have earned. A total of 36.8 million technical points were obtained in this campaign. 100 times increase. This campaign gained a total of 3.68 billion technical points. Congratulations on getting the new technology. The new technology acquired this time is too numerous, and most of them were actually useless to Qin Sheng. They were all the techniques of ordinary third-level civilizations, because they were 2 levels beyond Qin Sheng's civilization. You can't get a 100-fold increase. The final effect was comparable to the technology used by most of Qin Sheng's current warships. Some are even worse. For example, what electromagnetic reinforcement armor, electromagnetic railgun reinforcement technology, high-power output plasma pulse technology, and so on. Some of them Qin Sheng picked and chose, and they could still be used. After all, the fourth level of civilization is called a lower civilization. The gap between the first-level civilization and the second-level civilization and the third-level civilization is not big in fact, and the small civilization is actually not so small. The technological level of the second-level civilization is essentially 2 or 3 times stronger than that of the first-level civilization. The scientific and technological intensity of the third-level civilization is less than 4 or 5 times stronger than that of the second-level civilization. The gap between the third-level ordinary civilization and the first-level civilization usually does not reach 100-fold. This was also why Qin Sheng's use of the first-level civilization technology that had been strengthened 100-fold was able to slightly surpass the ordinary third-level civilization. Not to mention the pseudo-red dragon scale armor, which was originally much stronger than the technology of the first-level civilization, and then strengthened by 100 times. It was even more impossible for ordinary third-level civilizations to possess. However, although it is stronger than the ordinary third-level civilization, it is far less than the real fourth-level civilization. The science and technology of the first, second, and third-level civilizations are all based on the fact that the basic physical theories are not much different. But after the fourth-level civilization began to study the microscopic universe, it discovered something more microscopic. The level of basic physical theory has been comprehensively upgraded. The gap will have a qualitative leap, so that the gap between them will reach hundreds or thousands of times. That's why there is the saying that under the fourth-level civilization, all are low-level civilizations. As a result, among the many third-level civilization ordinary technologies that Qin Sheng had obtained, some of them were slightly weaker, and they could get the second-level peak of a 100-fold increase. The technology of civilization. It has become much stronger than the ordinary technology of the average third-level civilization. Here are a few important ones. Battleship optical stealth technology, level 2 peak. The battleship is equipped with a light distortion device, and all the light that shines on the battleship will be refracted. The means to achieve optical stealth on battleships. 100 times enhanced. Curvature space stealth technology, peak of 3-level civilization. Special technology. This technology uses curvature space itself to achieve the purpose of battleship stealth. This technology is very rare, and it is an incomparably unique existence among the peak technologies of the third-level civilization. Even if the spatial fluctuations were not carefully scanned, the ordinary fourth-level primary civilization could not be detected. This technology also eliminates the space distortion traces of curvature engine navigation to a certain extent, preventing it from being tracked. 4 times the speed of light curvature engine, secondary. This curvature engine is a second-level civilization curvature engine technology that can reach 4 times the speed of light, but the speed cannot be compared to even the lowest level transition engine. Some wandering third-level civilizations that have no place to live are unwilling and have no time to develop curvature engine technology because they have a migration engine. Therefore, this part of the third-level civilization is still using this curvature engine technology. 100 times increase. Diamond class curvature engine technology. This curvature engine is not something that ordinary civilizations can research and develop. Because of the popularity of the transition engine, the importance of the curvature engine decreased. The average tertiary civilization usually keeps its curvature engine technology between 5 and 10 times the speed of light perfectly sufficient. But some civilizations that love curvature engines to the point of madness would be so desperate to increase their speed to 400 times the speed of light. I have to say that it is really crazy and stupid on the road of the curvature engine, because even the most elementary transition engine is faster than a curvature engine that is 400 times the speed of light. No way. No way. There will be no real civilization that wastes energy, resources, technology. Develop an unnecessary curvature engine to 400 times the speed of light. When Qin Sheng saw the comments of this crazy grade curvature engine technology, he admitted that he was speechless. Indeed, if it weren't for the 100-fold boost, the curvature engine would have been intensified to such a frenzied speed. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been a crazy civilization that would have developed it at such a speed. Even a 4th-level civilization would not be idle and do nothing. The average level IV civilization has a curvature engine speed, usually at 0.5 times the speed of light at 50 times. It's not that it can't be done higher, it's that it's not necessary. The territory of the 4th-level civilization is generally extremely vast, often thousands of light years. Under the blessing of a stable 4-level civilization migration engine, jump from a star in one planetary system over thousands of light years in a short period of time to a star within another planetary system. It's easy to do. Therefore, the curvature engine is used more in the interior of the planetary system, within the gravitational range of stars. The gravitational range of the average star, the range of the planetary system, is about 1 light year. In this case, a curvature engine below 50 times the speed of light is completely enough. Further up, it is a waste of resources, waste of energy, waste of technology. If there really is a civilization in the galaxy that has madly increased the curvature engine to 400 times the speed of light, maybe only Qin Sheng, who has a 100-fold strengthening system, accidentally made it out. Aside from this, it's the last useful technology. Land fission-level shock laser cannon technology, secondary peak. This technology is a large laser-to-land battery, made up of a large number of energy reactors put together. After launching, it is powerful. Hitting the land of the planet, it can cause the land itself to oscillate, thus achieving the task of quickly emptying a certain area of the land of a planet and a certain area of the land defenders. Although it is the technology of the 2nd-level civilization, the general 3rd-level civilization will use this technology in large quantities to quickly clean up the surface of a planet. 100 times increase. Fission Death Star laser cannon. This laser cannon is very powerful. The penetration it carries, as well as the special gravitational oscillation technique, it was enough to peek into the technical level of a 4th-level primary civilization to a certain extent, is a specialized weapon for planets. Use with caution. Use with caution. Use with caution. Episode 63. A whole planet's legal Lori Masada? The gods have arrived. Fission Death Star laser cannon. This is the real Star Destroyer weapon. Qin Sheng was overjoyed. With this weapon, he had an extra big killer. Strategic deterrent weapons. Just like the nuclear bombs of the Earth era, Qin Sheng believes that even if it is a strategic deterrent weapon, you do not use it, and you do not first let people know the power of this weapon. It's scary. What about deterrence? Even if it is a nuclear bomb of the Earth era, when it first came out, no one knew its power. It was only after blowing up the Small Days Kingdom twice that its terrifying power was known. It then becomes a strategic deterrent weapon. Although this Star Destroyer weapon is not the same now, part of the reason is figured out. You have to use it with great fanfare first, so that people know that you have such a weapon. That way others will be afraid of you. And Qin Sheng had already chosen a suitable target for the Fission Death Star laser cannon in his heart. That is, the mother star of Grand Duke Yalton, the star of Westfang Rao. Grand Duke Yalton is the backstage behind the 7 third-level civilizations that besieged the Great Qin Empire and the Barbarians' Elephant Man civilization before. He was already Qin Sheng's enemy. As for the enemy, Qin Sheng was naturally how fierce he was, how dark his hands were, and how he was bound to strike the strongest blow, so that the enemy was completely afraid of his emperor's prestige. What the? You say that only destroying one planet the enemy may not be afraid? Then keep destroying. How many, how much to destroy, until the enemy is afraid, or, until the enemy is completely destroyed, leaving no trouble at all. When the time comes, whether it is tens of billions of people, hundreds of billions of people, or trillions of people, Qin Sheng slaughtered it alone. For Qin Sheng, what he cared about most was the race and humanity under his command. As for other alien civilizations, Dunima is an alien. How much to kill, Qin Sheng would not be moved. In space, Qin Sheng first spent technical points to install the curvature space stealth technique on the battleship. 30 million technical values were spent. Just put this technology on one of the fleet's warships. It can cover the space curvature trajectory of the entire fleet. Now Qin Sheng's goal was to dodge the Aethys fleet that might have pursued 31. Technologies such as fission Death Star laser weapons were then implemented in the fleet. Let's find a place first. Qin Sheng did not choose the planetary galaxy closest to the hub galaxy, only 50 light-years away. Instead, a rowing system was chosen in an oblique downward direction, 70 light-years away from the hub star. Then Qin Sheng spent 200 million technical values. For more free Falu novels, https://discord.gg/bpy8hmhp. 20 large 400 times the curvature engines of the speed of light were installed in tandem on top of 10 Henkel Zoo-class aircraft carriers and 10 giant supply transport ships. The rest of the battleships were all housed in the interior of the aircraft carrier. This creates a curvature bubble that covers the entire fleet, 400 times the speed of light. I don't use a jump engine, the whole galaxy, maybe only I have such a crazy speed of curvature engine. Qin Sheng slightly teased himself. The order was then issued. Fleet off. Target a planetary system 70 light-years away. The entire fleet entered a state of curvature sailing. In a second, it is a gallop of 120 million kilometers. The 64th day of the voyage of Qin Sheng's fleet, the entire fleet had already crossed a distance of 70 light-years to reach the target planetary system. Qin Sheng sighed in his heart. The speed of a curvature engine at 400 times the speed of light is madness. If Qin Sheng was still using the original 10 times the speed of light curvature engine, I'm afraid it will take 7 years to get here. Now, on only the 64th day of the voyage, it has already crossed the distance of 70 light-years. Qin Sheng also did not forget to use the curvature space stealth technique on the way, eliminating all the tracks of his fleet under the curvature space navigation. In this way, the 4th-level civilization fleet that may be pursuing him will not be able to find his trace. For the next period of time, Qin Sheng had to stay in this planetary system for a while, and he had to first create the fission Death Star laser cannon, a large killing weapon. Follow the description in the technology. The length of a fission Death Star laser cannon alone is more than 3 kilometers. If you want to carry this weapon, then the average size of the battleship, I am afraid, cannot bear. In addition to this, there must be a large number of females on the battleship. Energy system. Otherwise, it is impossible to supply energy completely. This task, Qin Sheng handed over to Andilia. After all, Avrilia's computing power is quantum excellence. On closer inspection, the computing power is strong enough to calculate the matter in a planetary system. This is a computing power that is absolutely impossible for ordinary third-level civilizations to have. Thinking of this, Qin Sheng not only sighed. It seems that Andilia's level has not improved for a long time, right? It's so hard. Even if he has a 100-fold increase, he can increase his experience by 100-fold. Avrilia's computational power level is limited to the quantum excellence level. Although Qin Sheng had already made psychological preparations for this, he knew that the level of computing power was extremely difficult to improve, but still can't help but sigh. He was still like this. The real civilization in space racked its brains to improve the computing power of its own civilization's computer. And how difficult should it be? This road of civilization biochemicals, is difficult. This planetary system is somewhat similar to the solar system. There is a stable, young star as the core. About 7 planets orbit in synchronous orbits around the stars. Due to the Earth plot, Qin Sheng chose the target of his docking on the 3rd planet of the planetary system. This planet is an Earth-like planet. The land area is 210 million square kilometers, or about 37%. The oceans cover 63% of the planet's surface. The gravity index is 1.2 g, which is slightly higher than the Earth. Under the preliminary investigation, the data of this planet was presented in front of Qin Sheng. Andilia reported. She looked at Qin Sheng. In addition, Your Majesty the Emperor, we have found a native civilization on the surface of this planet. Native civilization? Does this planet have a native civilization? Qin Sheng was slightly stunned. This was something he hadn't expected. Yes, Your Majesty, scanning the planet reveals that there is a humanoid creature living on this planet. The average body length of organisms is 130 to 140 centimeters. The average mass is 35 kilograms. Another point worth thinking about is that these species have psionic energy indices with varying sizes of fluctuations. Qin Sheng heard that there was some surprise. A native civilization with psychic talents? He hurriedly asked, to what extent has their civilization level developed? It is still relatively backward, and it is basically the same as the degree of the Ming dynasty in the Earth era. Qin Sheng bowed his head slightly. Speed up the collection of intelligence on the native civilization species of this planet. An image of a virtual character appeared in front of Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng saw this, and his brow moved. The species of this planet are humanoids, and belong to the upright walking Homo sapiens species. However, the average height is between 1.3 meters and 1.4 meters. The skin is mostly a smooth, fair color like milk. Slender in stature, mostly pure white. There are also facial features on the face. A pair of crystal clear. There is no difference between the pupil whites. The color is mostly white, pink and other colors are large, but just the right eyes grow regularly on the face. It's like a human being, but it's different. Overall, within the human aesthetic, this species is long-lived, generally about 5 to 10 times longer than humans. It is a mammal, and from birth to death, the appearance will not change much. Good guy. Qin Sheng listened to the call out to the good guys. Isn't this the legitimate Lolita and Shota of an entire planet? And it also has a psychic talent. At the same time, Qin Sheng also noticed a little. Are there any signs of chaos detected? The creatures of this whole planet basically have psychic talents, and chaos is pervasive, so let's do it. Qin Sheng asked. That's right, Your Majesty. I have detected no less than 100 signs of chaos on the planet. The original civilization on this planet is suffering from the pollution of chaos, and the chaos believers within the civilization are invading. Hearing this, Qin Sheng stood up and said, since this is the case, then we should go and save them. Just build the Death Star weapon on this planet. At the same time, perform miracles and pull the civilization on this planet into the Great Qin Empire. Ella, Hetty. Qin Sheng summoned the second young girl. Emperor, what's the order? Ella said with great excitement. She had been holding back all this time, and she was almost bored to death. You two, lead the tactical humanoid maiden and Saint Heli elite maiden warriors. Break into the interior of the planet, clean up the chaos and pollution, show your strength, and win over the original civilization of this planet. Obey orders, Emperor. Ella's beautiful face grinned widely, eager to try, and finally let her move. Slaves obey orders. And Hetty was still a quiet, seductive maid. Above the third planet within the planetary system, there are about 1.2 billion people, divided into 27 countries. The strongest of these is the Canary dynasty, which occupies the most central part of the planet's land and is also the most fertile land. The species on this planet call themselves the golden sparrow. In Qin Sheng's view, it was true, exquisite like a small canary. Wonderful. The Canary dynasty, as the most powerful of the 27 nations, had difficulties that other weak and small nations could not understand. With the continuous increase of their spiritual energy level, the number of spiritual energy strong people gradually increased. A threat they had never feared had appeared out of thin air. It's chaos pollution. All psychics of level 3 or above will appear projections in the subspace. The stronger the spiritual energy, the more dazzling the projection, the more it attracts the attention of the countless demons wandering in the subspace. As a result, the likelihood of being polluted by chaos also skyrockets. Empress of the Canary dynasty, Stell has not had a single day of ease since she ascended the throne. As the strongest of the entire dynasty, the supreme spirit radiance, 4th grade spirit energy, was not only herself. Infestation of the Yuya space demon. At the same time, it is also necessary to help the rest of the high-level spiritual masters, 3rd-level spiritual energy, in the country to resist the intrusion of subspace demons. This is an extremely energy-consuming effort for her. That is to say, she is talented and born with strong willpower, otherwise, she would have already become a chaos believer. Your Majesty the Empress. 17 more cases of heavenly demon invasion have occurred in and out of the country. There have been 3 cities, and hundreds of thousands of people have been slaughtered by the heavenly devil believers. Stell had just awoken from her slumber when she heard an urgent report outside the door. Damn the devil. Day after day, this situation made Stella's spirit miserable. Her silver teeth clenched, and her silver white eyes were full of anger. At the same time, I can't help but feel some sadness in my heart. 3 more cities, hundreds of thousands of people. They are all the people under her command. God, if it really exists, why don't you come and save us? Instead, let those heavenly demons wantonly bring misfortune to the human world? But this idea is only fleeting. She must be strong and cheer up, and the whole dynasty, 10,000 people, must rely on her. She couldn't fall. Pass on the order. Order the forbidden army of the court, and order the imperial conquest. Personally crusade against the heavenly demons of Anong province. 50,000 were all forbidden armies, composed of low-level spirit masters, and it could be called the strongest army of the Canary dynasty. Less than 10 days after the march, Stella had already led the army to the province of Anong. But this time the situation was beyond Stella's imagination. The entire province of Anong had been reduced to a demonic realm where heavenly demons danced wildly. Everywhere there were the people of the Canary dynasty who were polluted by the devil and their bodies were deformed. For a time, the number of heavenly devil armies spread all over the mountains. Why not just tens of millions? They are powerful and wantonly killing. 50,000 forbidden troops fought for several days. Not only did it not make any progress, but it suffered heavy casualties. Empress Stell's petite and slender body wielded a huge spirit radiance, fighting against thousands of heavenly demons and in the midst of chaos. His body was covered in blood. She already had no idea how many heavenly demons she had killed. She was still exhausted, delicate face full of haggard, watching the forbidden army around. More than half of the casualties have already taken place. Each was equally exhausted and demoralized. At this moment, Empress Stell suddenly found out. They seemed to be surrounded by an endless army of celestial demons. At a glance, there were horns everywhere, deformed bodies, and a red and bloodthirsty army of heavenly demons. Densely packed, the horns of the human head are stirring. Stella was desperate. Oh God, if she is wrong, then punish her alone. Why did you want to bring down such a heavenly demon chaos and ruin the lives of millions of Dawn people? In the past, Stella did not believe in God and only believed in herself. But at this moment, facing such a dead end, she couldn't help but start praying, longing for that life-saving straw. At this time, exhausted and desperate, Stella's eyes gradually lowered. An inexplicable whisper came from her ear. People can't help but want to sink, to listen. She's tired, want to rest. At this moment, it was as if a ray of sunshine shone on it. In an instant, all the void whispers were removed. Instant clarity. Stella suddenly looked up. It is to see the sun. A round of cold, merciless, but shining the sun of millions of people in the world, hanging high in the sky. In this round of cold sun, there seems to be a figure suspended, with its back to the dazzling light of the icy sun. One cannot see its face. I can only see the same joyless eyes, scanning the earth. Under the illumination of the light, thousands of heavenly demons were screaming, and their bodies melted. And at this moment, the earthquake shook and the sky roared. The airflow is bubbling. Above the clouds in the sky, an incomparably huge, black shadow appeared. It was as if there were some incomparably terrifying monstrous beast above the clouds. The clouds of the entire sky were separated by a slowly sinking giant creature. Countless streams of air, clouds like water, flowing upwards around the great creature. The shadow of black pressure obscured the whole earth. Stella's eyes were full of shock. God. It's coming. Episode 64. Conquer the new race. The fission Death Star laser cannon battleship is built huge. Dazzling light fell from the sky. An instant, the mountains were everywhere, and the heavenly demon army that was stirred up by the demon was destroyed in an instant. Stella and the surviving Canary Dynasty Forbidden Army felt an unparalleled shock. Such power is by no means all in the world. Shout. In the sky, a whistling sound was heard. Dense metal flying creatures descended from the sky, breaking through layers of clouds. Streamers flicker, flames soar. All the heavenly demons who had survived the previous round of blows were cleared by this round of attacks. Tenjin, the gods have come to save us. The Golden Sparrow Forbidden Army cheered, and although they were exhausted, they suddenly felt as if they were full of strength. Especially the figure suspended in the sky. From the naked eye, it was a figure, but once you use the power, feel it with your heart. You can see, like a cold white sun, hanging in the sky, silently shining, staring at all beings. In the sky, hundreds of warplanes roared past. The tactical humanoid in charge of controlling the fighter glanced down through the observation system, and then smiled happily. Wow. The native civilization species of this planet are so cute. Yeah, it's like a lorry who hasn't grown up, and when she looks at it, she wants people to pick it up. The laughter of other tactical humanoid maidens came from the communication system. It doesn't take a moment. The army of tens of millions of heavenly demons has been completely eliminated. The earth turned into a scorched earth. Empress Stella stood in the scorched earth, her tired body clutching the spear in her hand, looking up. The surviving forbidden soldiers around her were also moving closer to her. In the sky, the figure slowly descended. Descending along with that figure, there were hundreds of other graceful figures. How majestic was this figure? Looking at the past, it makes people feel infinite reverence in their hearts. Unconsciously, he lowered his posture. Inside Stella, her heart beat harder and faster. In her heart, she learned a name from the underworld. A great name, Emperor. So she shouted, Emperor. The delicate little face was full of reverence. The same is true of the rest of the Forbidden Army. From the bottom of his heart, he shouted out the name, Emperor. Qin Sheng was suspended in the air and slowly fell. I swept through the eyepiece of the face armor. It's about taking in the bottom of the picture. There were about thousands of petite and slender Lori and Jingtai, all dressed in gold armor and holding huge halberds in their hands that did not match their bodies. I didn't expect that there really was such a race under the heavens. An entire race looks like a legitimate Lori Masada. Qin Sheng felt strange in his heart, but after all, he is not Lolita. After pondering for a while, Qin Sheng slowly opened his mouth and called out the leader's name, Stella. This voice seems to penetrate deep into the hearts of all people. Let them surrender in their hearts. Although we have just met. However, Stella and many of the forbidden soldiers felt it. The person in front of them is the real emperor they are destined to be. This is the effect of the emperor's aura. Humanoid creatures, subraces, will involuntarily have great reverence for the emperor from the heart. In fact, belonging to Qin Sheng's command was indeed the best choice for a race with psychic talents, because possessing psychic talents is doomed to be invaded by chaos, and Qin Sheng's subordinates, under the effect of the emperor's aura, were immune to chaos intrusion. That's a huge buff increase. For psychics, they can no longer be limited by chaos and can increase their psionic strength at will. Still, now, in the name of the emperor, I order you to recover all the countries of this realm. Follow me and soar into the sky. Qin Sheng's voice sounded. Without too many words, Stella had already begun to obey Qin Sheng's orders from the inside. In space, Qin Sheng's fleet, one after another, began to land from outer space and fall into the Golden Sparrow planet. The landing site is in the Canary Dynasty, where the Chaos Believers have been purged, in the province of Anong. The fleet had also detected it in advance, and the land was rich in minerals. The Great Qin Empire would choose this place to mine minerals and build the fission Death Star laser cannon. At the same time, some space motherships were also built for the use of the Golden Sparrows. It can make them follow Qin Sheng and soar into the starry sky. Just when Qin Sheng's fleet landed, returning to the court, Stell immediately began to extend invitations to the kings of the other 26 kingdoms. Invite them to come and hold a major meeting, the Council of the Gods. At first, the kings of many countries felt that Emperor Stell was inexplicable. Invite them to a meeting? What meetings? Tenjin Council? Crazy? How can there be a god in this world? And if there is a god, then why didn't they appear before, to help them clear the world's demons? Although they all thought so in their hearts, they still went. All of them came to the Canary Dynasty Palace and attended the meeting. They didn't know if there were gods or not, but the Canary Dynasty was the strongest of all their nations. None of them wanted to offend the Canary Dynasty. At first, they scorned the legendary gods. However, when they really saw Qin Sheng, just by looking at the body of the mighty shore, they felt that it was like a round of cold white sun, not warm, but it made all of them feel a sense of peace of mind. Endless reverence welled up in everyone's hearts. It's like the tall, mighty figure in front of them was their natural leader. Make people want to surrender. Emperor, Emperor, the kings all shouted out the name in reverence. Qin Sheng bowed his head slightly, looking at this group of delicate-looking, slender and petite cute races in front of him. From this point of view alone, outsiders say that this group of childlike Lolitas is the king, the emperor. I'm afraid not many people believe it. With the blessing of the emperor's aura, Qin Sheng was very easy to subdue the native civilization on the Golden Sparrow planet. After the Ether Dragon Maiden, the fourth joined the race under the emperor, the Golden Sparrow Spirit Clan. Now, Qin Sheng wants to mechanize them silicon-based. Turn on the assimilation of the Iron Heart. Flesh and blood are weak, and machinery soars. The heart is better than the thing, and the transcendent is holy. 2 words rang out. There was a flash of light in front of him. Qin Sheng's brow frowned slightly, as if something went wrong. The second sentence, the mind is better than the thing, and the transcendent is sanctified. It's not the words that should ring when silicon is basic. Really, when Guanghua passed away, the Silk Heir and the rest of the Golden Sparrow Spirit Energy clan in front of him once again appeared in front of Qin Sheng. There has been no change in their appearance. Just when Qin Sheng thought that it was the conflict between silicon-based and spiritual energy, and assimilation failed, he suddenly felt a connection between himself and all beings on this planet. Congratulations on conquering the new race. Golden Sparrow Psychic potential, SS level, Wisdom potential, S-class. Combined potential, SS rating. Special ability, Soul. The Golden Sparrow Spirit is a special combination of silicon-based machinery and psychic hearts. Their psychic consciousness can detach from their bodies at any time and lean over any mechanical creation. Even the existing body is only a temporary shell for them. When Qin Sheng closed his eyes, he could feel the connection between the many Golden Sparrow Spirit clan and him. It is different from the consciousness data upload technology that Qin Sheng has. The spirits of the Golden Sparrow Spirits can lean over any mechanical creation. After leaning over, the mechanical creatures will fit incomparably well, just like their original bodies. It will also exert unprecedented, or even surpass, the combat power of this mechanical creation itself. Feel the joy that comes from the stream. Qin Sheng felt it from the bottom of his heart. Soul bliss. Qin Sheng knew that from now on, he had the means to be able to hell out the late natural disasters in the game, divided into several types. There are several kinds of purge agreements, Iron Man rebellion, electronic demons, and so on. The first 2 are natural disasters of intelligent AI rebellion. However, the silicon-based race under Qin Sheng's command was immune to the first 2 natural disasters. And the last, electron demon, it's different. It's not an AI rebellion. The electronic demon is a special chaos demon that lurks in chaos. It belongs to the subspace chaos evil god, under the command of Na Dirt. Dirt, most like to spread diseases, both biological and mechanical. They will get sick. The electronic demon is a chaotic data virus specifically aimed at mechanical, intelligent AI. Mechanical creations that can attack and pollute everything, intelligent AI. Now, Qin Sheng possessed the Golden Sparrow Spirit Clan. The special talent of the Golden Sparrow Spirit Clan, the Machine Soul, can lean over any mechanical creation. In this way, the future Qin Sheng was also immune to the attack of the electronic demon and had the perfect means to resist the electronic demon. Qin Sheng was still trying to say something, but the body of Stell in front of him disappeared. When Stell appeared here, she did appear in front of Qin Sheng as a virtual Lolita image. Emperor, from now on, Stell will always be by your side and will not leave for a moment. After Stell finished saying this, her body disappeared, turning into a smear of data and entering Qin Sheng's armor. At this moment, Qin Sheng felt that the dragon scale armor he was wearing seemed to have life. The mind is linked to himself. And the role of the Golden Sparrow Spirit Energy Clan does not stop there. They can not only transform into machine spirits, but also use their existing bodies to fight with the army in reality. They can switch between souls and entities at will. After subduing the Golden Sparrow Spirit Energy Clan, Qin Sheng began to concentrate on the construction of the fission Death Star laser cannon weapon. In space, 10 battleships, which were not huge and averaged 3 kilometers in length, withdrew from the state of curvature. The streamer flickered away, revealing the battleship's body in space. Among them, the flagship bridge. The security Archon stood in the command position, wondering in his heart, "Damn, why are traces of curvature voyage gone? I can't find it. Open the star map." The security Archon was anxious. This task was given to him by the great Bus of Alton. If he can't finish it, he can't destroy the civilization that fled. When he returns, then what awaits him will be an incomparably severe punishment. The thought of the manner in which Archduke Jardon treated slaves made the security Archon feel a great deal of fear in his heart. Open the surrounding star map. In front of the security Archon flashed a three-dimensional galaxy coordinate. It's all the planetary systems around them. There are dozens of planetary galaxies within 100 light-years alone. Which planetary galaxy will they go to open the folding? The security Archon is extremely anxious, and once the other party enters a planetary system, he uses the stars to make transitions. Then, when the time comes, it will be really difficult to find each other. When the time comes to find the traces of the Great Qin Empire, you can really only slowly explore the traces of migration one star at a time. This will undoubtedly greatly delay their speed. The security Archon had no choice but to choose a nearest planetary system to investigate. That planetary system was the closest to the hub galaxy, and it was also the planetary system that Qin Sheng wanted to go to at first, but later changed direction and did not go. Choosing the target, the 10 Class 4 civilization warships once again entered a state of curvature towards the goal. A year later, Qin Sheng stood on the ground and looked at the behemoth in front of him that had already been built. There was a slight shock in my heart. This is the fission Death Star laser weapon that has been built. Only to see Qin Sheng in front of him was a huge spherical battleship, 50 kilometers in diameter, far more than all the warships that Qin Sheng had now. Fission Death Star laser battleship. The main cannon equipped above is the fission Death Star laser cannon. In addition, the interior of the huge battleship is equipped with a 15,000 dry-type tandem fusion curvature energy system to provide energy. In addition, 150 400-fold lightspeed curvature engines and 1500 conventional fast vector engines are powered. 50 jump engines provide transition channels. In addition to this, the surface of this fission Death Star laser cannon, loading conventional weapons, 12 oversized plasma spear emitters, a large plasma pulsed beam battery with 120 batteries in tandem array of 12. The afterlife, #forgetfulness Fun Thief 10 has been a day without others, and 14. The close defense fast laser turret array is 800. The fission Death Star battleship weighs 570 billion tons. The caliber of the main gun reached a height of 800 meters. Every launch, its terrifying power can penetrate the surface of the planet and all the way into the Earth's crust. Special laser gravitational waves will then cause oscillations within the planet's core, blow up the entire core of the planet. The huge energy brought about by the destruction of the core of the planet will cause the entire planet to completely disintegrate. This is the real, star-destroying weapon. Such a magnificent creation, how powerful. Stell's petite figure appeared on Qin Sheng's shoulder, her delicate little face full of surprise, and her two white and tender little feet swayed wildly. Andilia, who was standing next to Qin Sheng and reporting the fission Death Star laser battleship data to Qin Sheng, glanced at Stell, then retracted his gaze. The time has come, all the crew board the ship and get ready to go. Now, let us give the Archduke of Artius, the Empire of Athos, such a depraved, decadent fourth-level civilization a little awakening. Remind them that this universe is not a happy place where they can enjoy life comfortably. Goal: 3,600 light-years away, the Star of Fertility. Episode 65, Fission Death Star laser launch. Truly destroy the planet. 120 billion people. The Athos Empire. It is a degenerate, decaying fourth-level civilization, despised by other fourth-level civilizations in the galaxy, but in general, the existence that can be promoted to the fourth level of civilization, the political system of its civilization, and the ideological height of ordinary people within the civilization, will go through sublimation. For any civilization that has been promoted to the fourth level of civilization by normal means, there is not even an ordinary civilian within their civilization. Its quality is superb, and its overall situation is very important. Take your own civilization as your mission. Regard the overall interests of their own civilization as the highest goal. They are all very common. They don't indulge in pleasure, they don't indulge themselves. Most civilians in a fourth-level civilization will only think, how can they contribute their own strength to civilization? So, in other words, an ordinary third-level civilization was promoted to a fourth-level civilization. What is needed is not only the improvement of technology, it also needs the sublimation of the minds of many civilians within civilization. After that, more than 90% of the population was so well thought out in what can be called is a qualified fourth-level civilization, in order to have the potential to go one step closer. And, look at the Athos Empire. It is also a fourth-level civilization. However, it is the level of science and technology that has reached the level of level 4. As mentioned earlier, the government of the Athos Empire was incomparably backward, because the system of government of the Athos Empire, or the subceiling system. This kind of system on Earth, the Dragon Kingdom implemented thousands of years ago during the Spring and Autumn Warring States period, the system implemented during the Holy Roman Empire on Earth. The sub-feudal system, the entire Athos Empire, consisting of tens of thousands of small noble fiefs. These large and small nobles formed the entire Athos Empire. Emperor was made by one of the largest and most powerful nobles. In addition, the Athos Empire had 7 electors. Archduke Jartun is one of them. Perhaps, the Athos Empire also knew that its own form of government was not at all in line with the times. They have also made a change. This change is the establishment of a bureaucracy. Nobles served as imperial officials. In fact, the bureaucracy is indeed better than the previous scene of aristocratic partition. He also reluctantly gathered the empire. But the decadent aristocratic system, which has been passed down for tens of thousands of years, further pollutes the bureaucracy, makes the bureaucracy even more corrupt. Administrative efficiency is lower. As for why the Athos Empire has already entered the 4th level of civilization, it has already entered the ranks of the higher civilizations in the universe. Why is such a backward system still in use? Could it be that they themselves have developed the scientific and technological level of the 4th level civilization unchanged? Indeed it is. Tens of thousands of years ago, the home planet of the Athos Empire discovered the source crystal ore, attracted the 6th level civilization Mibak civilization. The Athosian Empire was still in the feudal era. Thus, under the subtle influence of the Mibak civilization, a group of Athosian scholars became scientists. In this way, the entire Athos Empire took a leap from the original feudal era into the universe. The Athos Empire is not like the other 4th level civilizations in the universe. After tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years of ups and downs, internal reforms again and again, change the people's thinking and raise the standards of the people's own moral code system. In the end, under the dual height of science and technology, ideology and philosophy, they went hand in hand and entered the ranks of the 4th level civilization. The Empire of Athos was like a child who had been forcibly elevated and grew into a giant. There will inevitably be a phenomenon of brain and huge body that do not match, and the phenomenon of mental inferiority is abundant in the Earth-rich galaxy. 3,670 light-years from the hub galaxy, it was one of the 7 electors of the Athos Empire, the fiefdom of Archduke Jartun. The living planet in the galaxy, Youth Fertile, is his home planet. There are not many fleets here. There were fewer than 200 Class 4 civilization warships, because Grand Duke Alton went on a defensive mission to the hub galaxy, taking most of his army with him. On this day, the stellar transition passage was among the outposts. A Athos soldier is on duty. His task is to monitor the cosmic string of this star and report any abnormalities. At the same time, this outpost is also responsible for the dispatch of its own fleet migrating from the outer galaxy. It can be said that this work is a very boring job, all day long against that huge, fiery star. And the Athosians were not a race that could be settled. Today, the Athos soldier on duty is watching a variety show in their empire that is basically a household name in the space outpost. Battle Royale of the lower civilizations. It is the program team that uses warships to arrest people in many lower civilizations, and after capturing people, they are placed in a planet full of beasts. Place various weapons on the planet and let them fight each other. See who survives in the end. The soldier on duty was watching the show and was laughing when suddenly a voice came from the communication channel. Guard post number 12841, attention, our fleet is going to the hub galaxy through the stellar transition channel. The Athos soldier hurriedly closed the variety show and replied, understood. Beyond the huge, scorching star, a battleship of the Athos Empire opened the cosmic string passage. The entire battleship flashed and disappeared in place. And at the moment when the cosmic string channel is about to close, a seemingly innocent ripple of space was faintly transmitted. The observation machine at the space duty post discovered this and truthfully passed it on to the soldier on duty. But after the soldiers waited for the battleship to leave, they continued to watch the variety show. The spatial anomaly of noticing this at all. Even if you notice, you won't care. There have been more and more cases of spatial anomalies. Not worth worrying about. Qin Sheng stood in the bridge of the flagship, looking in front of him, the star behind the fleet that emitted high temperature and continued to burn, and the space outpost that was incomparably small compared to the entire star. Is the level of the Athos Empire so watery? At this moment, the fleet of the Great Qin Empire had already entered the curvature space stealth mode. Before that, Qin Sheng still had some trepidation. After all, the Athos Empire also had 4 levels of technology. Can you hide it? But looking at it now, the opposite of the Athos Empire did not react at all. If that's the case, then don't blame me. It's you who don't argue. Qin Sheng gave the order. The fleet continues to advance. Let's give the Athos Empire a little wake-up call. The entire fleet, in a stealthy state of curvature space, began to accelerate continuously, heading for the only and largest planet in the planetary system, natural life. Ush is fertile. The Empire of Athos, a fief of the Grand Duke of Jardan, also his home star. Ush fertility is an authentic living planet. It is also a developed agricultural planet. Tens of thousands of years ago, this was the incomparably important agricultural planet of the Athos Empire, with the output of a planet, feeding the Athos Empire in the surrounding planetary system. Hundreds of planets in the middle. But now, with the gradual development of science and technology in the Athos Empire, both the upper and lower levels have gradually degenerated and sunk. The planet of Fertile became an amusement park for the Grand Duke of Arleton. The people of Archduke Jardan began the slave trade on this planet, the so-called slave trade. It was the fleet of the Duke of Jardan who traveled to the planets of other lower civilizations to capture all kinds of slaves, then take it to the Star of Yus and use these slaves from various races. Do some business shows. On the current of Fertile Star, the most profitable thing is this kind of entertainment. Hundreds of billions of viewers watch their shows regularly every day. The people of the Athos Empire also enjoyed the show. The planetary governor of the Fertile Uis, the younger brother of Archduke Jartan, Count of Yalta. At the moment, Count Yalta was overseeing the recording of a new show. The content of this new program is to live-stream the meat quality and taste of the creatures of various lower civilization races. After the evaluation is completed, see the audience's response. In response, the program team will send a fleet directly to the home planet of the lower civilization that knows nothing about what will happen to its civilization next. After the massacre is captured, it is then made into canned live sales. To put it bluntly, it is live selling goods. Danji, Count Yalta received communications from his subordinates. Your Honor, there is a situation. What? Count Yalta asked impatiently. We received a message from the Hub Galaxy. They remind us that a fleet of lower civilizations in the Hub Galaxy that committed crimes, attacked other civilizations outside the Hub Galaxy, and openly flouted the authority of the Athos Empire fled. They have issued a wanted warrant for our side to cooperate with the investigation. As soon as the words fell out, Count Yalta hung up the communication. It's annoying. Isn't it just a wanted low civilization? As for informing him directly, does he have time to waste? Thinking of this, Count Yalta called the other side back. Your Honor, the Earl of Yalta had just hung up the newsletter over there, and asked, with some trepidation, don't bother me with such small things in the future. Count Yalta's split head and cover his face was a reprimand. He even turned on a remote virtual call, angrily shouting at the three-dimensional virtual image of the subordinates who appeared in front of him. Do you know that you just wasted this communication that doesn't matter at all? How long will you waste me? You know how much money I can make in a minute. After angrily scolding the other party, Count Yalta was relieved. Your Honor, what's wrong? Make such a big fire? A nobleman next to him questioned. It's all right. Count Yalta shook his head, then laughed. I came down to report that it was for us to be careful of a fleet of low civilizations who committed crimes in the Hub Galaxy and escaped. Ha ha ha, it's ridiculous. As soon as this was said, everyone laughed. Ha 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 ha, the person who informed you is not brain dead. Doesn't he still understand that our Athos Empire is a fourth-level civilization? What is worth caring about in a low civilization? Laughing, the field was a joyful atmosphere. Right here, the planet of the Yus, the outer space of the universe. The Fission Death Star laser battleship, possessed by the soul of the Golden Sparrow spirit clan, is in a state of invisibility in curved space, gradually approaching this huge living planet. Because of the special machine soul talent of the Golden Sparrow spirit clan, therefore, Qin Sheng was also equipped with manpower for the Fission Death Star laser battleship. They can be directly possessed by their souls and control the battleship autonomously. At this moment, the huge spherical battleship with a diameter of 50 kilometers was already located in Wusan. Qin Sheng observed the movements of hundreds of warships on the outer defense space station of the planet was fertile. They didn't react at all. Qin Sheng couldn't help but feel strange. This, his Death Star has been open to your faces. Haven't reacted a bit yet? Didn't you really detect it? Qin Sheng couldn't help but start to wonder, is the other party trying to get away with it? In fact, Qin Sheng thought too much. Wus's abundant detection system really did not detect the approach of Qin Sheng's Death Starship. Every day, a large number of warships transporting slaves of lower civilizations traveled back and forth between outer space and the abundance of us. These warships usually turn on curvature engines inside galaxies. It has reached the goal of racing against the clock and faster than competitors. As a result, the entire fertile galaxy, undisguised curvature navigation space fluctuations are innumerable. The detection system and observers would not care at all. After the curvature space stealth after the Fission Death Star laser battleship, the small space fluctuations could not be smaller. Forget it, Death Star cannon, start charging. After waiting for a while, I found that the other party was really not moving, and I didn't want to. The order was given directly. Understand, Death Star cannon, start charging. The many Golden Sparrow lorry souls of the Death Star battleship shouted in unison in a crisp voice. Still in stealth, the Fission Death Star laser battleship, the entire 15,000 metaconverse curvature energy reactor began to function as a main gun. In an instant, the energy amplitude of the entire Death Star battleship also increased dramatically. retreated directly from the curvature invisibility. This moment, on the entire planet of us, the values of various energy detection machines instantly exploded. In the slaughterhouse of a program on the planet of fertility, the butchers looked at the scene of the sudden explosion of the machine that detected the size of the bioelectric power of the low civilization race, and they were stunned. A certain variety show group on the planet is trying to dig through the underground variety show group, and the value of the machine used to detect the magnetic field also exploded in an instant, and the whole explosion was exploded. Everyone was stunned. Countless people on the planets can see, right in the sky. Suddenly, there was a dazzling star with a huge flash of light that could be easily seen even during the day. What's going on? What happened? I don't know. The entire people of the fertile planet of us were astonished, looking at the constant flickering light in the sky. But none of them felt afraid, and they even thought that this was a new job from which program group. Unlike them, above the planet of the Yus, the creatures of the lower civilization races waiting to be slaughtered in the slaughterhouse of the program group looked at the sky with great eagerness. Desperate, they hoped that it would be the god who could save them. On the planet of the fertility of us, the poor people of Athos, who had been banished to the lower levels because of their poverty, came out of the ground and looked at the light in the sky. They prayed that it would be a wishing comet that would bring them wealth. On the fertile planetary space station, the soldiers of the guard fleet even looked at the flickering light in space at the Space Synchronous Orbit space station. None of them paid any attention to the high-energy monitoring machine, whose energy values were gradually soaring, because they also think that this is a new job that the program group on the planet has made in order to attract traffic. Until the energy value continued to soar, directly beyond an entire planet, the high value was almost explosive. They reacted violently, until the remote monitoring system saw the spherical battleship suspended 1.2 million kilometers above the planet, with a main gun caliber of 800 meters. But it was too late. Recharged. Launch. Qin Sheng gave an order. A huge, dazzling torrent of energy gushed out in an instant. Like an Optimus Prime, it instantly bombarded towards the fertile planet of us, which has a population of 120 billion. The beam of light runs directly through the crust of the planet, the mantle, the upper mantle, the lower mantle, the outer core, and directly to the core of the planet. Episode 66. Unite all the fourth-level civilizations in the galaxy to block Qin Sheng? Are you okay with bombing planets to play? The earth shook. Count Yalta, who was overseeing the progress of the show, was stunned, hurriedly shouted, "What happened? Your honor! Look at the heavens." What? Count Yalta was stunned, and then quickly pressed a few buttons on his arm. Next, the walls of the entire recording room, the ceiling all became transparent. It allows people to see all the situations in the outside world. Everyone in the program group looked at the sky with stunned eyes, and the beam of light that fell in the distance was like a pillar of Optimus Prime. It falls straight from space, penetrates the atmosphere, and burns out all the atmosphere that comes into contact with the surrounding area. Through the ocean, the whole ocean above the planet boiled up, and countless steam rose in an instant, and the ocean dried up. It runs through thousands of kilometers of thick crust, with an outer mantle. The planet's lower layers are slow, and the outer core has not been able to block the huge, high-energy laser beam for a minute. Straight, hit the core of the entire planet, the core of the planet with a diameter of 3,000 kilometers. In an instant, the core temperature of the planet soared. From the original 7,000 degrees, it has directly soared to hundreds of millions of degrees. Most of the elements of the planet's core, iron and nickel, began to recongestor under this sharp high temperature. Heavy element fusion. The heavy elements are transformed into trillions of tons of pure energy. The core of the planet is mostly composed of heavy elements, and the core of the planet fused by these massive heavy elements also produces gravity to maintain the balance of the entire planet. Now, the heavy element is transformed into pure energy. Gravity disappears. The entire surface of the planet has changed dramatically. The balance of a planet begins first and foremost by the core of the Earth. The power generated by the operation of the core causes the magma produced by the mantle to move, drive the movement of the Earth's crustal plates. This movement stops and the planet's magnetic field disappears. If there were oceans on the planet Earth, the Earth's plates would cease to move, the currents would no longer flow, and the atmosphere would no longer be bound by the planet's crazy escape to outer space. The large number of us-foreign soldiers on the space station did not expect that they would be able to experience the feeling of being blinded by a hurricane in space. More than a dozen of the station's Westfang soldiers screamed in horror, were blown out of the space station, and their entire bodies spun and flew into space. Even because there was an atmosphere in space, it was no longer a vacuum, and the rest of the people could accurately hear their terrified screams. The massive thrust generated by the frantic escape of an entire planet's atmosphere into outer space will even be the outer space station, the spaceport moored in the middle of the battleship, all pushed away from the periphery of the planet. The planet's magnetic field loses its effect, and a large number of stellar winds, cosmic rays, and radiation from the cosmic space sweep the surface of the planet over and over again. Mass extinction. It's a wonderful sight, but such a sight will not occur. Because the planet was destroyed so quickly, such a scene could not appear at all. The fertile planetary system. The fleet led by the security archon in charge of pursuing the Great Qin Empire had just broken away from the stellar migration channel. Count Yalta, who wishes for the fertility of us, has received my newsletter. Can help us track down the target together. The security archon sighed. He had been tracking the traces of the Great Qin Empire outside, but he couldn't find it anyway. There was no way. The security archon did not dare to go back to Archduke Jartan, only to find the younger brother of the Grand Duke of Jardan, the Count of Yalta. However, as soon as the security archon entered the planetary system, the high-energy detection device on the battleship's bridge emitted an incomparably harsh scream. Worldly, what? The security archon was stunned. What's going on? Archon. Rich star. Take a look. The subordinate observers let out a terrifying, shrill scream. The sound is completely distorted. The security archon hurriedly adjusted the remote observation screen to see the universal reaction occurring. This look. His eyes widened in shock. The pupils contracted violently and trembled. He saw a flash of light, a glow even brighter than a star. The core of the planet Fertile disappeared completely, transforming into trillions of tons of pure energy. Such a huge amount of energy began to move inward under the action of high-energy laser rays. The shell of the planet loses its gravitational pull at the center of the Earth, and first expands outward, then it contracted violently. Eventually, the pure energy inside the planet shrinks beyond a limit. Explosion, produced. An incredibly gorgeous explosion. Trillions of tons of pure energy poured up from the interior of the planet Fertile planet were compressed to the extreme of explosion. Light. Huge glow. Even for a time, it was even more dazzling than the star in the planetary system, dazzling the entire planet with a diameter of tens of thousands of kilometers, like a huge firework in the universe and space. Countless plates of the original planet, the Earth's crust, turned into fragments of meteorites, shooting in all directions of space. The planet of us is abundant and destroyed. What's going on? What's going on? What the hell is going on? The security archon froze for an instant, his body trembling, and his face was particularly bloodied with a roar. The sound emitted by the incomparably compact vocal organ at this moment was deformed, as if it had been torn apart. After the roar, the security archon lost all his strength and sat on the ground as weak as a mourning woman. He knows. He's done. Although this matter seems to have nothing to do with him on the surface. However, he served as the battleship of the SS Empire that had entered the eutrophic galaxy. Watch as the planet of Earth is destroyed. He would certainly be held accountable by the high-ranking nobles of the Empire, the Emperor of the Empire, especially Archduke Jartan. After all, he was ordered by Grand Duke Yaltan to pursue the criminal Great Qin Empire civilization. As a result, now, he came to the Fertile galaxy, but the Ustrofo star was destroyed. Of the Great Qin Empire. In the middle of the bridge, there was the roar of the security archon like hell. And Qin Sheng at this moment. It's already moist. At the moment when the fission Death Star laser was fired, Qin Sheng immediately ordered the Golden Sparrow Soul to turn on the curvature engine at full power. The curvature engine, which was maddened to 400 times the speed of light, was instantly started at full power within a day. Qin Sheng's fleet directly ran out of 10 trillion kilometers, that is, a light-year distance. Qin Sheng could not enter the cosmic string transition channel through the transition engine. Otherwise, with the space detection means of the fourth-level civilization, no matter where Qin Sheng ran, he would be directly chased by the cosmic string space trajectory. Sail only through curvature bubbles, then run through the curvature space stealth technology while erasing their own space curvature trajectory. Let the enemy chase after the untraceable. After all, Qin Sheng also had self-knowledge. Their own strength, abusing ordinary third-level civilizations. Even the third-level peak civilizations themselves have the strength to fight, but a fourth-level civilization, forget it. No matter how decayed and depraved the Athos Empire was, at the end of the day, it's still a fourth-level civilization. It is also a fourth-level civilization that is about to have a Dyson ball. Although in the end, after the Athos Empire had the Dyson ball, it was likely to open the swing directly. Anyway, the Mori ball can provide them with endless energy. It allows them to indulge and swing freely. And for Qin Sheng, there is no such technology, can only sneak a planet to live a life. When you're done blowing up, run. What a thrill to tread on a horse. Ding dong, the system prompts that you have slaughtered more than 20 billion other civilized creatures. You have completely, utterly destroyed a planet. You unlocked achievements, Fear of Athos. You unlocked achievements, Galactic Light, Athos's Fear. You completely destroyed the upper echelons of the Athos Empire, and the home planet of Archduke Jardan, killed more than 12 billion people on the planet. The notoriety of the human emperor will spread forever in the Athos Empire, and any Athosian will smell you differently. But this title would also cause the Athos Empire to pursue and kill with all its might. Please be cautious. Galactic Light. The light emitted by your complete destruction of a planet illuminates the entire planetary system. But please note that the act of completely destroying a living planet will cause hostility from other civilizations. The Galactic Civilization Destiny Community Council is about to be convened. The Athos Empire will submit this matter to the Council of the Galactic Civilization Destiny Community, asking all the 4th level civilizations to join forces to hunt you down. However, it is not yet known what will happen. Just 2 titles? No other rewards? Qin Sheng raised his eyebrows slightly, and the 2 titles basically brought about negative effects. And the Galactic Civilization Destiny community mentioned in the second title profile. It was initiated by a 5th level civilization in the galaxy a billion years ago, calling for all 4th level civilizations to be jointly built. Simply put, it is the United Nations equivalent of the Earth, although it was initiated by the 5th level civilization. But today, in the Council of the Galactic Community of Destiny, there are only seats of the 4th level civilization, and none of them exceeds the 4th level civilization, because any civilization that has surpassed the 4th level civilization and reached the level of the 5th level civilization or above, its pattern is already beyond the Milky Way galaxy, which is only 100,000 light-years in diameter. Start looking at the universe. After all, the Milky Way galaxy can only be regarded as a horn in the entire universe. Above the Milky Way, there is a group of local galaxies. The local galaxy group is a galaxy group composed of more than 50 galaxies of large and small sizes, such as the Milky Way, the surrounding Andromeda Galaxy, and the Great Magellanic Galaxy. The local group of galaxies is about 10 million light-years in diameter. The local group and hundreds of others are contained in the Virgo supercluster, 110 million light-years in diameter, and above the Virgo supercluster, there is the Raniaceous supercluster. Supercluster complex. The Raniaceous supercluster, the whole is fibrous, more than 100,000 light-years across the Milky Way. In this huge fibrous, as if it were cosmic, nerve veins are generally in the supercluster. It's just a point of light that is too small to be small, and the light that is dim and can no longer be dimmed. Therefore, civilizations above the 4th level of civilization simply do not care about things in the galaxy. Only a group of 4th level civilizations in the galaxy form the Galactic Destiny Community Council to maintain peace among the higher civilizations within the galaxy. See that? Qin Sheng frowned slightly. An Athos Empire is fine to say. If it is really a group of 4th level civilizations crusading against the Great Qin Empire, that's really hard to play. But at the moment, Qin Sheng's worry was useless. He still ran first. Ran to a place first to develop a wave. First of all, the full set of scientific and technological systems of the 2nd level civilization and the 3rd level civilization that were exchanged before have been thoroughly eaten. After successfully promoting to the 3rd level civilization, go out and just go out with them. After all, after each promotion to the civilization level, Qin Sheng's 100-fold amplification system will also evolve. Before successfully promoting to a 1st level civilization, Qin Sheng's system had more functions of dry double rewards for mineral resources. After the promotion of the 2nd level and 3rd level civilization, the 100-fold increase should evolve from the current 100-fold to 1,000-fold. Moreover, Qin Sheng was also able to increase the technology of the 3rd and 4th level civilizations by 1,000 times, and when the time came, it would be more than a little stronger. Qin Sheng would not be afraid of the 4th level civilization either. Thinking of this, Qin Sheng suddenly remembered a little more. Does he have to inform the other billion human players in the galaxy? After all, the number of human players in the entire galaxy is still quite large. If the Athos Empire was really crazy, it might have taken the other humans for the knife. Most of today's human players have developed into a first-class civilization. It is impossible for a first-level civilization to block the target of a 4th-level civilization. Thinking of this, Qin Sheng posted a message on the Galactic Player Chat public screen. Emperor, at all players, when you have recently ventured in the universe, it is best not to show your human identity, so as not to be targeted by people of other civilizations. As soon as the news came out, the Emperor boss, who was first shocked and silent by the players, finally appeared again. Then there is confusion. Teacher D, what happened to the kidneys? Emperor, specific, it's nothing, it's just that a 4th-level civilization has provoked me, and I blew up their living planet to play with. With the 3-dimensional space coordinates x times y times z times as the center, players within 10,000 light-years in diameter should pay attention to it. Although human compatriots who are far away may not be affected, when you go out to show your face, it is best to cover up and not be recognized as human. The entire galaxy player was both shocked and numb. Are you okay? Bombed the planet to play? Or a planet of a 4th-level civilization? Many players even deliberately opened the leaderboard to take a look. The first in line is still the Great Qin Empire, the Emperor and the Big Man. The civilization level is still 1 level. A 4th-level civilization? We have just been promoted to a 1st-level civilization, and you have already started to play with the 4th-level civilization. Well, although this play may not be very friendly to the door. Episode 67, The Furious Grand Duke of Arleton. Happy Qin Sheng. After notifying the other players in the galaxy, Qin Sheng continued to move forward. He had only just run a light-year away, and technically not yet out of the gravitational range of the abundant star of us. Qin Sheng also did not have a clear goal. In short, run first and talk. Run to a random place with a wide range of corners, and then start upgrading your basic technology to improve your basic technology. Now Qin Sheng built warships and weapons that were higher than his own civilization level. They all know only what they do, but don't know why. At the very least, we must raise the civilization level to the second level, and the third level. And in the midst of the U's fertile galaxy, the entire planet of us fertility has now turned into a floating belt of meteorites that shatter space. A large number of planets fragmented into meteorites and floated in space. Dozens of Athos Empire warships wandered among these meteorite belts. Countless Athosian soldiers looked out from the battleship, desperate, but without tears. The security Archon immediately thoroughly investigated the cosmic string transition passage of the stars. Sure enough, an anomaly was found in the records of the duty station. A day ago, there was a record of our fleet opening a transition channel through the gravitational pull of the star to the hub galaxy. But there are anomalies in the gravitational fluctuations of this discipline. From this portal of transition, there is definitely more than one fleet of our side. Something invisible, something that has eliminated its own traces, has come out of this portal of transition. The security Archon watched the record, clenched his right fist, and slammed it into the control panel in front of him. Great Qin Empire, definitely them, the security Archon roared. However, according to the records of the hub galaxy, the Great Qin Empire is only a first-class civilization. How can a first-class civilization master such superb technology? Not to mention, a star destroyer weapon that can directly destroy the entire Usfan star with one blow. The commander of the fleet of the fertile galaxy was silent for a moment, although his heart was also full of hatred, but unlike others, he still felt that he had to find out who the enemy really was. No, sir, you don't know. The security Archon had a fierce look in his eyes. The Great Qin Empire once defeated 7 third-level Yuming with its own strength in the hub galaxy. This is something that a first-class civilization can do. Therefore, I suspect that this Great Qin Empire is not a first-class civilization at all. At the very least, it has to be a third-level peak. The first-level civilization is cunning and treacherous in their disguise. So cunning and treacherous, I even suspect that the entire civilization of the Great Qin Empire is a believer in evil gods and treacherous cults. The commander of the fertile galactic fleet was silent. He sighed heavily and said, "Anyway, Usfer is the fiefdom of Grand Duke Jardon, and we must report the relevant situation to Grand Duke Yalton." "Yes, report to Archduke Jarton." When the security Archon heard this, he was suddenly silent, and said directly to the commander of the fleet, "Your Excellency, you go and report this matter to Archduke Jarton. I continue to lead the fleet and pursue the fleet of the Great Qin Empire." The commander of the fleet changed his look and said, "Why me? You are the commander of the fleet of the fertile galaxy, and theoretically, you are responsible for the safety of the fertile galaxy. Now that the planet of Ush's fertility has been destroyed, you cannot blame it." The security Archon pointed his finger at the commander of the fleet and looked gloomy. The security Archon could not go back, for he knew that if he went back, he would inform Archduke Jarton of the destruction of the planet F. Well, whatever the lords of Ardendo reacted, one thing is for sure. That is, he is absolutely dead as a messenger. In terms of rank, the security Archon was not as senior as a fleet commander of a galaxy. However, the security Archon is an official affiliated with the hub galaxy. The commander of the F4 fleet was merely a magistrate. They were all under the command of Archduke Jardon. In layman's terms, the security consul is the Beijing official, and the commander of the Wusfang fleet is the local official. Local officials are not as good as Beijing officials, which is normal. Another point is that the commander of the Ufan fleet is a distant relative of Grand Duke Jarton in terms of blood, but there were only low-ranking lordships, no fiefdoms. The security Archon, on the other hand, was a high-ranking knight with a small fief of his own, so the security consul dared to point fingers at the commander of the fertile fleet. "And, if I go, there is no blood connection between me and Archduke Jardon, and I will probably be killed by him. However, you have some of the bloodline of the Yalton family, and the Grand Duke of Yalton will probably look at this and save your life. So you can only go." When the security consul finished speaking, he left the duty post, entered the space battleship. The tail engine starts. The entire battleship disappeared into space. Go and explore the possible traces of the Great Qin Empire. Leaving only the commander of the fertile fleet alone, he was stunned for a long time, and finally he sighed. He also summoned a fleet, opened the transition channel, and went to the hub galaxy with great trepidation to report the news that would definitely make Grand Duke Arton Thunder angry. The Empire of Athos, the hub galaxy, the star, the capital of the Athocid Empire, is here. As mentioned earlier, Archduke Jardon lives on the top floor of the Star Empire City in the capital, at the top of the entire Athosian Empire. Directly above the Imperial City, the space elevator that goes straight into the sky connects the Imperial City and the spaceport. This port was dedicated to the Athos Empire. The rest of the civilizations are not eligible to use. Space comes and goes, all of which are the ships and warships of the Empire's magnates of all ranks. Distant stars, transition channels open. Bearing the emblem of the Athos Empire, the fleet of the Grand Duke of Jarton's family coat of arms broke away from the transition passage. Along the way, the rest of the ships were afraid to avoid it, and they all drove away to make way for this fleet. The F4 fleet docked in the spaceport very smoothly. After the warship was fully docked, the hatch opened and was connected to the bunker attached to the spaceport. The commander of the fertile fleet was extremely nervous, and stepped off the battleship and passed the space elevator of the attached military fort in the spaceport. Using the special privileges of Archduke Jardon, take the space elevator, pass through the atmosphere, and reach the 10,000-meter building on the top floor of the Imperial City. Here, the commander of the US-4 fleet successfully met with Archduke Jardon. Unlike the Athosians, who were of the same size as the General Hempole, the Grand Duke of Jardon was very broad. It simply broke through the physical limits of the normal Athos people. Because of their own ethnic characteristics, the average Athosian is about 2 meters tall, and the weight is 80 kilograms under the standard capital star gravity. By this standard, Athos was thin. If under the Earth's standard gravity, the 2 meters tall Athos would weigh only 60 kilograms. It's a hemp pole. And Archduke Jardon, no matter which planet he is under the gravity of, he is definitely not light. The racial limits of the Athos have been broken. The weight reached a staggering 521 pounds. Archduke Jardon could not even stand on his own, not to mention walking. So the Archduke O'Farton's body was littered with implanted machinery to sustain his life and normal movements. This phenomenon is caused by the fact that he has been smoking a gas of a highly addictive nature that is harmful to the body organs of the Athos people for many years. This is also something that the Athos people generally indulge in. Grand Duke, the commander of the Fertile fleet, was partly of the Yalton family, so he was able to meet the Grand Duke in person. Unlike the previous security archon, he did not even see the face of Grand Duke Jardon. "Ah, it's you, Paul. I remember that at the family summit more than a decade ago. I saw you again. Your grandfather Yulanen is all right." Archduke Jardon lifted his wrinkled, whale-like eyes and looked at Upal. "Your friendship, grandfather, is fine." Upal hurried to salute. In fact, he had not seen his grandfather for more than 10 years. His grandfather had more than 100 sons, and his grandson had more than 1,000 contemporaries. He was no longer close to his grandfather, and he completely separated from the family. The Grand Duke. "In fact, I came this time to report to you about the wanted civilization and the Great Qin Empire." Upal swallowed and spoke slightly nervously. Great Qin Empire? Grand Duke Yalton could remember Upal, whom he had seen more than a decade ago, but he didn't seem to remember such a wanted civilization as the Great Qin Empire. Yes, it is the Great Qin Empire that committed the crime of destroying 7 third-level civilization fleets in the hub galaxy before. When Upal said this, Archduke Jardon remembered. He nodded his head and said, "Are you here to report to me the good news that you have killed them all?" Upal suddenly did not dare to speak, and his airways were tight, and he seemed unable to breathe. And Archduke Jardon was still talking to himself. "A first-level civilization, it is not practical to let you, the commander of the fleet, come personally. Did the head of the Great Qin Empire civilization catch it, or had it already been killed? It is better to catch them and then execute their leaders first. Then send a fleet to find their home planet and slaughter all of their civilization. By the way, I remember I sent the security consul to chase them. Why did you, a fleet commander of the Earth-rich galaxy, come and report to me?" Archduke Jardon looked at Upal and made a pole shudder. Shaking, he held out his hand and pulled out the virtual imaging device. "I didn't even hold it steady for a while, and I almost fell down. Actually, the fleet of the Great Qin Empire ran to the Fertile galaxy. How are they?" Upar was even more frightened when confronted with the question of Archduke Jardon. The airway tightened and tightened, breathing with all his might, and the addictive chemical gases that drifted across the room seemed to suffocate him. "They destroyed the planet Eutrophic." Thorough. After destroying Upal, it was as if he had lost all his strength, and he could not even stand steadily in silence. For a long time, there was no sound. The sweet smell that filled the room seemed to solidify in the air. This addictive chemical gas has not been shaken by sound for a long time. "I don't know how long it took." Archduke Jardon finally spoke up. A laugh came from among the vocal organs. Then the laughter grew louder and seemed to be unable to stop any longer. "Ha ha 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 ha." Archduke Jardon seemed to be insane. How can this be? In the midst of the mad laughter, Archduke Jardon let out a roar. Hysterical roar. "Just a first-class civilization. A first-class civilization, how dare they, and where did they come from?" Archduke Jardon couldn't stop talking to himself, his wrinkled skin shaking violently. "Did you catch them?" He jerked his eyes at Upal and roared angrily. "Don't tell me that after they destroyed the planet of, let them run." Angry eyes looked at Upal, and the hysterical roar instantly shook the addictive chemical gas that filled the air of the room. "The security archon has gone to look for them and chase them. Looking for traces? A mere first-level civilization. Is there any alternative means that we cannot directly explore?" Archduke Jardon said angrily. They don't know how to use, concealed the curvature of the entire fleet. It's hard for us to find. The depth of space in the universe is too vast, and once they disappear, Upar is telling the truth. In the vast space of the universe, once the distance exceeds a certain size, there will be countless planetary systems in this range. If you can't find any trace of each other, do you have to check the countless planetary systems? It is okay to say in the territory of the Athos Empire, but outside the country, they don't have that ability yet. The Great Qin Empire. I will definitely find you and take revenge. Archduke Jartun was now blinded by anger and hatred. The once-in-a-century Galactic Civilization Community Council will be held regularly in 3 years. When the time comes, I will definitely submit this matter to the Parliament and set a record for the Great Qin Empire to commit crimes against civilization and against the galaxy. Gather all the 4th-level civilizations and pursue and hunt down this evil civilization that dares to destroy a living planet. No, condemn them to chaos forces, chaos minions. In an instant, Archduke Jartun thought of a countermeasure. He could not find any trace of the Great Qin Empire in a 4th-level civilization. Can't all the 4th-level civilizations be found? Archduke Arleton of the Hub Galaxy over there was furious, and Qin Sheng on this side is in a happy mood. The fleet is sailing at full strength, looking for a suitable foothold. 2 years later. In 2 years, the fleet of the Great Qin Empire sailed out for a distance of 800 light-years. Within a range of 800 light-years, there are at least 8,000 stars. After Qin Sheng felt that the curvature was far enough away, he randomly chose a star as a springboard for migration, directly ran away, and jumped to a galaxy 6,700 light-years away. Qin Sheng chose it at random. When Qin Sheng settled in this planetary galaxy more than 10,000 light-years away from the Hub Galaxy, Wusfang Rao was 3,600 light-years away from the hub. It had been more than 2.5 years since the planet of Fertile had been destroyed by him. Episode 68. Horror. The sudden appearance of the phenomenon of 4-dimensional space shocked Qin Sheng. In a planetary system 11 and 300 light-years away from the hub galaxy of the Athos Empire, this galaxy is a relatively rare single-star system. In the very center of the galaxy is a star with a mass slightly smaller than the Sun. There aren't many planets orbiting stars, only 5. Of the 5 planets, 3 are solid planets and the other 2 are gaseous planets with relatively large volumes. At present, Qin Sheng's main energy source is these 2 gaseous planets. Qin Sheng's landing site was on the 3rd land planet close to the star. Perhaps because of the Earth complex, when Qin Sheng chose the landing site, he would always choose a 3rd planet in the planetary system, close to the star. Inside the atmosphere, the big flag with the word Qin on a black background fluttered with the wind. The land, which was originally densely forested and full of grass and trees, is now paved with mechanical creations. Various megastructures were built in this area. Above a striking skyscraper, the Qin character flag flies. A slender elevator passage leads from the roof of the building to the sky and through the atmosphere, linked to a space station in a planetary synchronous orbit. The space elevator has been built. It is being put into use. Several tall, long-legged, delicate bodies, completely wrapped in powered armor, escorted a large amount of supplies to the space elevator. From land, we came to the space station. Hurry up, Sister Neil has already said. The Emperor has issued an order. We must seize the time to prepare the supplies into space. The Ring Planet Large Particle Collider has already begun construction. We can't delay the construction of the collider because of us. A tactical humanoid girl squad leader shouted loudly, and the beautiful black eyes were particularly focused, supervising the progress of the girl's work. Rest assured, let's not talk about anything else. The work is absolutely not touching the fish. At this time, a large, rather clumsy 31-weight steel creation, above the engineering mech, a shadow of a cute Lolita appeared, and she spat out her tongue and said, Hey, everybody work hard. The engineering humanoid maiden, the tactical humanoid maiden, the golden sparrow machine soul Lori, and the Jingtai are carrying out various tasks in full swing. Nearby, there were also Saint Heli elite maiden warriors with silver-white mechanical tails and several mechanical threads at the corners of their delicate faces, scanning the surroundings with vigilant eyes, responsible for security patrols. There are no intelligent beings on this terrestrial planet. It is important to note that the large native species are more dangerous. At this moment, a super-large ring particle collider with a diameter of more than 30,000 kilometers is under construction around the entire planet. Qin Sheng needed to use this equipment to specialize in the study of more advanced basic physical theories, in order to achieve the purpose of making a breakthrough in their basic technology level. Whether it is a breakthrough in the 2nd-level civilization or a breakthrough in the 3rd-level civilization, this is a device that must be used. Oversized ring particle collider. Qin Sheng stood on the top floor of the skyscraper and looked up at the sky, a large mechanical creation that had begun to take shape, looming in the starry sky. That's part of the ring particle collider, which was just being built. In a matter of months, less than 1% of the works were completed. In this way, with the current engineering capabilities of the Great Qin Empire, it will take at least 125 years to complete this project. It's still too slow. I can't afford to wait for 125 years of construction time. Qin Sheng frowned deeply, although he still had more than 400 first-class civilization buildings to build in an instant. But it is clear that this ring star super-large particle collider has surpassed the level of a first-level civilization. The volume was huge, and now Qin Sheng even put all 400 or so first-level civilization buildings into it in an instant. It can only increase the progress of the project by less than 20%. Qin Sheng's current engineering manpower in addition to more than 100 million Qin machine souls responsible for controlling large-scale construction machinery, more than 10,000 large-scale engineering ships. In addition, it is tens of billions of involuntary ordinary engineering robots, operated by remote control by engineering humanoid girls, with a number of about 50 million. Just when Qin Sheng was worried about how to quickly increase his project progress, outer space, a large transport ship more than 10 kilometers long, full of energy and supplies, has just left the fourth gaseous planet. Preparations are underway to transport energy to a synchronous orbital space station outside the third land planet. The transport ship, sprayed with inefficient flames at the stern, was moving forward when an accident suddenly occurred. The space ahead was empty, but the transport ship seemed to have suddenly entered some portal, suddenly disappeared. This accident suddenly alarmed the great Qin Empire warships that were on duty around them. What's going on? A tactical humanoid maiden captain's eyes widened in surprise, and he looked at the empty space in the distance in the middle of the battleship bridge. We were attacked? No, Captain, no high-energy reactions were detected. Could it be a fourth-level civilization weapon of the Aethys Empire? No, we also didn't detect fluctuations in particles breaking down gravitational waves. What's going on? The maiden captain's eyes were full of doubt. Report it first, let's investigate now. It didn't take too long. After discovering the sudden accident, hundreds of great Qin Empire warships around them were directly surrounded. They did not act rashly, but observed first. Hundreds of great Qin Empire warships were about 15,000 kilometers away from the space site where the large transport ships had just disappeared. All kinds of instruments were aimed at the space, closely monitored. Ella, who was in charge of fleet security, asked with a serious face, "What's going on?" "Sister Ella, this is the test picture just now." The transport ship suddenly disappeared out of thin air in space, 15,000 kilometers away. Ella Ingshow's brow furrowed, indeed extremely strange, and she immediately issued a guard order. "Don't act rashly, all the weapons in the fleet are fully charged, and all the battleships must not approach the area just now, and all of them are scattered and in a combat formation." Qin Sheng on the planet also received this report for the first time. A transport ship suddenly disappeared in space and inexplicably? Qin Sheng was stunned at first, and then immediately paid attention to it. Summoning Aviria to board the battleship with him, Qin Sheng left Hetty in charge of the defense of the planet's land. He took Dragon Mo and Andilia into space with him. The 16-kilometer-long Henkel Zoo-class aircraft carrier broke through the planet's atmosphere and entered space. Qin Sheng was on the bridge and observing the void, space with nothing, and his brow frowned. A virtual panel appeared, and Ola's face appeared in front of Qin Sheng. "Ella, are there any casualties? Are there any of our personnel on that transport ship?" Qin Sheng asked first. "Report to His Majesty the Emperor, there have been no casualties so far. The vanishing transport ships have low-level intelligent AI operating according to the established transport routes, so there are no tactical humanoids and Golden Sparrow Soul clans above." After Ella finished reporting, Qin Sheng's brow frowned even deeper. All transport ships are low-level intelligent AI that are constantly transported back and forth according to the established route. The route was fixed, and before that there were other transport ships constantly passing through the area just now. But why? Before there was no accident, but at this time, suddenly a transport ship disappeared. Suspend all transport ship operations first. All the battleships have taken off and are in a state of combat readiness, and this is always watching. Accompanied by Qin Sheng's orders, above the terrestrial planet, a tactical humanoid, Saint Heli elite maiden warrior, began to board the ship. The inefficient flames of the battleship's engines spewed out, and large space battleships gradually lifted off with the whistling sound of air currents, broke through the atmosphere and entered the universe and space. The current Qin Sheng has undergone construction and development for a period of time before expanding its armament. The number of warships was no longer more than 1,000, but soared to more than 10,000. The densely packed space battleship entered the planet's synchronous orbit. Looking at the past, the number of battleships is almost impossible to see at a glance. Before figuring out what the situation was in front of him, Qin Sheng couldn't act rashly. However, regardless of the instrument used for observation, no anomalies could be detected in that space. This is incredibly puzzling. This ignorance lasted for 2 days. 2 days later, here comes the turnaround. Qin Sheng suddenly received a message from Ella. "Your Majesty, the vanished transport ship has suddenly reappeared." "What?" "Tune the picture to me," Qin Sheng said hurriedly. The virtual light screen unfolded, and a picture appeared in front of him, only to see a vast, empty space. Suddenly, a small flake of curvature bubbles overflowing with light appeared. In the curvature bubble, the bow part of the vanished transport ship is wrapped. It is said to be a small piece of curvature bubble because the complete curvature bubble is oval. But this curvature bubble has only the frontmost part of the oval. The back part is as if it has been staged out of thin air, incomparably smooth. Even the bow of the transport ship below was smooth, and the truncated part was smooth. There was not a single trace of a cut in sight. Qin Sheng inhaled a cool breath. Even for transport ships, the outer armor is a dual structure of pseudo-red dragon scale armor plus amethyst nano-regeneration. What kind of sharp blade could cut through the hull of a transport ship with such a hard armor and a height of 4 kilometers and a width of 3 kilometers? If this was the case, it would not make Qin Sheng so out of shape. But the most crucial thing was that Qin Sheng could see incomparably clearly that in the smooth cross-section of the battleship, the internal structure of the battleship was unobstructed. Compared with space, the internal structure that is not wide is like a honeycomb, one after another overlapping together, and even the various materials inside the battleship can be viewed from a nearly infinite angle. The transport ship was still maintaining curvature engines, just a glimpse of the infinite slowing down. But this glance was enough to make Qin Sheng lose his color. The transport ship remained at a state of curvature, slowing down. The transport ship was from right to left, the curvature was constantly intact, and the battleship was no longer only the bow. It's like moving forward from under an invisible curtain until all its true faces are revealed. The whole curvature bubble bag appeared in front of everyone with a complete battleship. Then from right to left, and then when you travel to a certain point, you suddenly make a turn. Continue sailing, turn the corner again, and after 2 complete detours, return to the spot where it just appeared. This time, the transport ship disappeared from the beginning, all the way to the tail, until it disappeared completely. Once again, it disappeared. 4-dimensional perspective. The face of Averia beside her grew solemn. You mean that the transport ship accidentally stumbled into a 4-dimensional space? Qin Sheng calmed down and asked. I'm afraid it's more than that. When a 3-dimensional creation enters a 4-dimensional space, all the structures inside it unfold unobstructed. It remains to be seen. Andilia looked dignified. It was 2 days later. Qin Sheng was notified again. The vanished transport ship appeared again. As 2 days ago, it follows the trajectory of 2 days ago. It made 2 full circles in space, returned to the starting point again, and disappeared. The tens of thousands of warships of the Great Qin Empire stopped in space for more than 10 days, until after the observation is completed. Andilia found Qin Sheng and reported her guess. Your Majesty, I suspect, 15,000 kilometers away in space, there could be a Klein bottle space. Klein bottle space. Qin Sheng's eyes widened slightly. He certainly knew what the Klein bottle was. Just like the 2-dimensional Mobius ring belt, from a 3-dimensional perspective, there can also be a Klein bottle phenomenon with the same properties as the Mobius ring belt. For example, connect a long strip of paper with the ends of the paper flipped over and overlapped. This creates a figure of 8 shape with only one face of the Mobius ring with an ant on top. The ant's perspective is 2-dimensional, and the perspective of height is missing. Thus, from the ant's point of view, the Mobius ring is an infinite loop of paths that, no matter how you go, will eventually return to the original starting point. This is not the case from a 3-dimensional perspective. If a 3-dimensional human, at this time, pinch the middle part of this 8, lift it, and make a bridge, ants can still pass through here, but in the eyes of the ants in the 2-dimensional perspective, this part of the space suddenly disappears out of thin air. It doesn't exist anymore, but in fact, the pinched part still exists, but only in 3 dimensions. Ants without the concept of height are naturally invisible and incomprehensible from a 2-dimensional perspective, but 3-dimensional humans can easily see this raised plane. The same concept extends the Mobius ring belt in 3 dimensions. It became the Klein bottle. In Klein's bottle, the part that is invisible to 3-dimensional humans is rising into the 4-dimensional space. The transport ship constantly circulated infinitely in the Klein bottle, suddenly disappearing. In fact, it was escaping into the 4-dimensional space of the higher dimension. Suddenly, it is from the 4-dimensional space back to the 3-dimensional space. And there seems to be some limitation to this Klein bottle space. Let the transport ship that strays into it can only fall into an infinite loop, and can never be separated. Moreover, Qin Sheng has already had people continuously send countless instructions to the low-level intelligent AI on the transport ship. The low-level intelligent AI of the transport ship has not responded so far, nor is there any movement. It's just a constant cycle of curvature in that Klein bottle space. Just when Qin Sheng thought that this transport ship would never be able to get out of trouble, he suddenly received a message. A message from a transport ship trapped in a Klein bottle, looping infinitely. Please help me. Leave this piece. Prison, you guys. The Great Qin Empire. Yes. Rich. Remuneration. This tone is obviously not sent by the low-level intelligent AI of the transport ship. The message was intermittent, but Qin Sheng was creepy to see. What creatures from the 4-dimensional space robbed that transport ship? Episode 69. Get the microscopic cosmic particle 3-dimensional printer. A civilization trapped in 4 dimensions. Silence, silence. Qin Sheng looked at the message that had been sent. I couldn't speak. An inexplicable sense of crisis surged into his heart. There are creatures from the 4th dimension of space, which transport ship was hijacked. Qin Sheng only felt creepy. Now Qin Sheng, the level of science and technology has not even been able to play with the three-dimensional space, not to mention four-dimensional creatures. Even if the same three-dimensional fourth-level civilization came, Qin Sheng would have to run. There was a long silence. Qin Sheng took a deep breath. At this time, Anvilia reacted quickly. She quickly calculated in her heart, and then said to Qin Sheng, "Your Majesty the Emperor, that unknown existence is most likely not a four-dimensional creature, but like us, it is a three-dimensional creature, not four-dimensional?" After Anvilia said this, Qin Sheng was stunned. Indeed, he suddenly figured it out. In the Klein bottle, the unknown creature that hijacked the transport ship. No, it should be said that the unknown exists, because it is not yet certain whether the other party is a creature or not. This unknown being is most likely not a four-dimensional creature. Instead, like Qin Sheng, he was also a three-dimensional creature. After all, a true four-dimensional creature cannot be trapped in the four-dimensional space and cannot get out by itself. If it is a real four-dimensional creature, it may be possible to stick out a finger at random, and it can break the Klein bottle that the three-dimensional creature cannot understand at all. Easily resolved, if only the four-dimensional creature had fingers. In this way, the other party is trapped in a Klein bottle with four-dimensional spatial characteristics, which means that he is most likely a three-dimensional creature instead of a four-dimensional being. Thinking about this clearly, Qin Sheng was relieved. Since it is a three-dimensional creature, trapped in the Klein bottle space, this is easy to do. Qin Sheng ordered that all the fourth-level civilization weapons equipped with the microscopic particle decomposition cannon be charged and prepared, then replied to the other person with a message. "Who are you?" 3 simple words. As soon as the message was sent, the other party immediately came to reply. Basically, it is a second return. "You can call me Cyprus." At first, the other party's reply was still intermittent, but later it became more and more fluent. "At a time you can understand. I was trapped in this space of thought 190 million years ago. It's been 190 million years. What a distant time. I used to be an ordinary soldier of the fourth-level peak civilization, and I was separated from my main civilization, accidentally stumbled into the four-dimensional space of this Klein bottle, and then got stuck here. I need your help." 190 million years. Qin Sheng's eyes widened slightly. How long can you survive in the middle of the four dimensions? Is this something that a person of the fourth-level peak civilization can do? Qin Sheng also sent his question to the other side, but unexpectedly, it was dismissively responded by this self-proclaimed by Fong.com. "I was trapped when, although our civilization had not yet really broken through to become a fifth-level civilization, but I myself was one of the first people in civilization to take the lead in completing the brain-strong intelligent ascension. Once all the population of the fourth-level civilization has completed the brain-strong intelligent leap, then you can be promoted to a fifth-level civilization. True fifth-level civilization people, according to the information I got from reading your shipboard AI. For you, any ordinary person of a fifth-level civilization can be called God." God? Qin Sheng was puzzled. Although he had been mixed in the universe for a long time in his previous life, it was obvious that the level of his mixing in his previous life was not enough. Being able to understand the fourth-level civilization is already the top of the sky, not to mention the fifth-level civilization. Therefore, these Qin Sheng did not know either. According to Bai Gao's explanation, the fourth-level civilization wants to promote the fifth-level civilization. "We must give the entire population of our own civilization to complete strong intelligence. At that time, even if an ordinary person of civilization has his own computing power in his brain, according to the level of computing power of the Shanghai game that Qin Sheng can understand, at the very least, they're all Turing level, normal, good, quantum, superior, quantum, Turing, quantum, galactic, cosmic ultimate. You must know that the current Anvilia is the strongest humanoid brain computer in the Great Qin Empire, and it is only a quantum excellence level, and there is currently no way to upgrade further, because it's too hard. With Turing-level computing power, it is more than enough to calculate data on all microscopic particles in several planetary systems. Data on all microscopic particles in several planetary systems. What a terrible computing power this must be. Add to that the in-depth knowledge of the microscopic universe, the cosmic fundamental particles, combined with such terrible computing power, it can be said that the movement of a thought is enough to make a whole planetary system, all particleized. Then regroup and become whatever they want. This ability, if placed in the solar system, placed in the Earth, it can indeed be called a god, but placed in the universe, that's it. Because above the fifth-level civilization, there are also sixth-level civilizations, and even the seventh-level civilization at the highest point. An ordinary person of the fifth-level civilization was so terrifying, Qin Sheng could already imagine how terrifying the more advanced sixth-level and seventh-level civilizations would be. At the same time, Qin Sheng also suddenly thought, in the Athos Hub Galaxy, help the Athos Empire build the sixth-level Mibak civilization that carries the sphere. Certainly not the true Mibak civilization was helping the Athos Empire build the ball. Otherwise, a person from a fifth-level civilization will be calculated with a strong intelligent Turing-level computing power, and it will not be long before the Dyson ball can be built. Why did it start construction 1,400 years ago and take another 600 years to complete? But to say strong intelligence, here we have to mention a concept. That is, strong artificial intelligence. The intelligent AI used by the 5th level civilization and below, including the 4th level civilization, belongs to the weak artificial intelligence. Weak artificial intelligence, with its own logical deduction ability, has a strong computing power. Computational forces can also be constantly stacked. However, no matter how strong the computing power of weak artificial intelligence is, it is not as strong as that of real strong artificial intelligence. True strong artificial intelligence all have a perfect sense of autonomy, soul, and a real imagination, not bound by the innumerable numbers of ones and zeros piled together. It is also true detachment. Then someone may be asking, are the tactical humanoid maidens under Qin Sheng's command strong artificial intelligence? The answer is no, because the tactical humanoid maidens are silicon-based creatures. It is a kind of intelligent creature. It does not fall into the category of strong artificial intelligence. Faced with Qin Sheng's various problems, Bai Feng is also extremely patient in answers. Qin Sheng's side did not care how many messages were sent. Over there, the Bai Feng in the four-dimensional space is basically a second return. Even for a while, Qin Sheng fell into thinking, and for a while he did not share the news with Bai. Bai Feng would also politely send a message to Qin Sheng to ask, what else to ask? Qin Sheng saw it and suddenly had some glimpses. Meow, so attentive? There wouldn't be any plot, right? You are a creature halfway into the 5th level civilization. To me, an ant who is still a first-class civilization, is so attentive, like a licking dog? Even if you are trapped for a long time, with the philosophical height of your 5th level civilization, shouldn't this be the case? In fact, Qin Sheng was wrong, but to a certain extent, he was right. Bai Gao replied to Qin Sheng in seconds, so fast that it appeared to be attentive, because the time flow rate of the two was different. Moreover, Bai Feng's position in the four-dimensional space was a little far away. On the surface, Qin Sheng's battleship seemed to be only 15,000 kilometers away from the Klein bottle space. However, the four-dimensional space in Klein's bottle is almost infinite. The distance between Bai Gao and the four-dimensional space was 120 light-years away from Qin Sheng. And because of the characteristics of the four-dimensional space, Bai Feng himself could not move, but the spatial position he was in was constantly changing. Coupled with the fact that the time flow rates of the two sides were not the same at all, Qin Sheng did not have the means of communication faster than the speed of light. This also led to Qin Sheng sending a message here, and Bai Gao was seconds back. But on Bai Feng's side, at least 120 years had passed before he could receive a reply from Qin Sheng. Bai Feng himself naturally knew this, but he didn't tell Qin Sheng. Moreover, Bai Gao lied. Previously, Bai Gao said that he had been trapped for 190 million years. It is calculated according to the time flow rate of the real universe. If you calculate according to the time flow rate of this four-dimensional space, where Bai Gao is located, he was trapped for at least 208 billion years. Now I'm extremely weak. Maybe even the strength of 1 in 100 million that year can't be exerted. Bai Feng didn't know what he was afraid of, and didn't dare to tell Qin Sheng about this matter. Senior, you said you wanted us to help you get out of this Klein bottle four-dimensional space, but we are only a small first-class civilization. How can I help you? Qin Sheng, who was alert, was ready to talk first. It's very simple. I'll help you first and give you technology. As long as you use the scientific and technological information I give you to raise your civilization level. Well, whether it's 1,000 years or 10,000 years, I can wait. Wait until your civilization level is high enough to level 4 or above. Then it will be able to help me get out of trouble. Bai Gao said, Seniors, now our civilization is preparing to build a ring planet superlarge particle collider for research and use to upgrade our civilization level. However, it will take at least a few hundred years for us to build it. I wonder if the seniors can help us with this matter first? Qin Sheng began to shed wool. This is simple, and since I am now able to communicate with you, it means that I have the ability to send some material out to the minimum. I can give you a microscopic cosmic particle 3D printer in batches. When the time comes, you can just assemble it. This is the technology at the pinnacle of the 4th level civilization, a three-dimensional microcosmic particle printer that can aggregate and print out the material you want from the most basic particle level. With this machine, you can complete the project quickly and easily. Along with Bai's reply, Qin Sheng was able to see through the observation system. There was a slight flash of light, constantly flickering 15,000 kilometers away. Countless microscopic particles emitted visible light and slowly converged to form a huge machine with a diameter of more than 30 kilometers. Qin Sheng did not rush to accept it. Instead, he first let the Golden Sparrow Machine Soul clan turn into a machine soul and possess it on top of the microscopic particle three-dimensional printer. Inside and out, carefully tested again, after confirming the existence of no electronic demons, data viruses, and the like. only to send someone to receive. This is a big role of the machine soul. The machine soul is extremely sensitive to electronic demons, data viruses, even if it is a similar means released by the 5th level civilization. It can also be sensed at the first time. Qin Sheng let go of his mind a little. Caution is always right. Just then, the system prompt rang. Ding dong. Congratulations on obtaining the 5th level civilization technology creation, the microscopic cosmic sub-3-dimensional printer. Unable to strengthen 100-fold, this technological civilization creation level is too high above your current civilization level to be strengthened, and the host is also asked to increase the civilization level and upgrade the system. 5th level civilization science and technology creation? Qin Sheng's heart, that had just been put down, was raised again. Bai Gao had just said that this was a 4th level peak civilization creation, but the system prompted that it was a 5th level civilization. With Bai Feng's own strength level, he could even say clearly how many years he had been trapped. It is impossible to make such a small mistake. The only possibility is that Bai Hua lied. Why would he lie about such a small matter? Could it be that when he speaks, it is 9 points true, 1 point false? This level of words? This instant made Qin Sheng more vigilant. After all, with Bai Feng's strength, there was no need for him to have any intentions against such a first-level civilization as the Great Qin Empire, for a first-class civilization could not threaten him. But it was also the strangest point. Why did Bai Feng lie to Qin Sheng? After all, Qin Sheng was only a first-level civilization, and it was theoretically impossible to threaten it. This is precisely the biggest and most irrational doubt. Qin Sheng thought about it for a long time, but still decided to use this machine. The soul has checked, and there is no existence of electronic demons, data viruses, etc. In addition, other things Qin Sheng was actually not very afraid of. After all, a machine, Qin Sheng only used him to build the Ring Star Superlarge Particle Collider for scientific research. When you run out, you don't need it. After all, if not, then Qin Shengguang would have spent 125 years to build the Ring Star Superlarge Particle Collider. 125 years, Bai Gao could afford to wait, but Qin Sheng couldn't afford to wait. For more than 100 years, it may be possible when such a 4th-level civilization as the Aethys Empire will come to the door. There wasn't that much time for Qin Sheng to waste, and according to the convention of 9 points of truth and 1 point of falsehood, even if Bai Feng wants to do something, the first one should be real. In a nearly infinite 4-dimensional space, ordinary 3-dimensional creatures simply cannot comprehend existence. Within a certain piece of coordinates, a gigantic being with an incomparably large body, at least 30,000 kilometers long, huddled in a cage of unknown structures of the cube. The surrounding 4-dimensional space reflected his vision, and when he looked at the past, it was as if he had countless huge creatures exactly the same, with a body length of more than 30,000 kilometers. But in fact, everything else is a projection, and only one ontology is true. This creature's body was incomparably huge, with 2 feet and 2 hands, and it looked like a huge humanoid corpse with skin and bones. Behind it, 2 huge poisonous snakes wrapped around the 2 shoulders. Above the head, a one-eyed eye is open, and inside it seems to exude infinite wisdom, but it also hides endless treacherous cunning. If Qin Sheng could see his true body with his own eyes, he would surely exclaim, "Great demon of the wonders." That's right. Trapped in this 4-dimensional space, it is not an ordinary person whose 4th-level peak civilization has been strongly intelligent through the brain, but it is a true, one of the 4 evil gods of subspace, the evil god treacherous god who chooses the great demon. Episode 70. The treacherous god chose the great demon by the emperor to the Minotaur? Treacherous devil, Bai Feng. Bai Gao's plot is actually very simple. He really wanted to leave this 4-dimensional space prison. 190 million years ago in the 3-dimensional reality universe, Bai Gao, as one of the great demons under the subspace evil god treacherous Qi, fought against a 5th-level peak civilization. Bai Gao was defeated. However, because he was a chaos treacherous demon, which in itself had a special nature, he was still a treacherous divine choice. If you don't use a regular or causal weapon, you can't kill it in the true sense. Therefore, the 5th-level peak civilization used a piece of 4-dimensional space debris to make it a cage that could not communicate with the 3-dimensional real universe. Bai Zhu was completely imprisoned in this fragment of 4-dimensional space. At the same time, because the time flow rate in the 4-dimensional space debris is different from the 3-dimensional real universe, for more than 20 billion years, it seems that endless time is also constantly consuming and seeing Bai Feng's own wisdom and strength. Even because the time was too long, so long that Bai Feng himself had forgotten some knowledge and memories. As a result, the strength of the current Bai Zhu is far less than 100 millionth of what was before. But fortunately, more than 20 billion years of time is also long enough for this 4-dimensional space. In the surrounding area, which is only the size of more than 10,000 3-dimensional reality cosmic kilometers, the 4-dimensional space constantly extends itself and unfolds. The interior space is almost endless. Under this constant expansion, it can be expected that it will be about tens of thousands of years later. This four-dimensional space will be completely destroyed and reduced to nothingness. It's the destruction of the rules. At that time, even a traitorous god-chosen demon like Bai Feng would truly die with the collapse of the rules of the four-dimensional space. Tens of thousands of years later, it is time in four-dimensional space converted to three-dimensional real universe time, less than 200 years. Therefore, Bai Gao was anxious. He desperately needed to find a helper on the periphery to help him get out of this four-dimensional space prison. At this time, the Great Qin Empire came. It is also due to the fact that this four-dimensional space cannot last long, so some cracks have appeared. Bai Feng was able to channel some of his strength. It was to disguise himself as an ordinary person of a higher civilization to cajole the Great Qin Empire. And the microscopic cosmic particle three-dimensional printer that Bai Gao just gave out is normal. There is no passive hand. As a treacherous and evil god who chose the great demon, Bai Feng knew the truth of lying. 9 points true, 1 point false. Gain the trust of the other person first. In fact, if it were not for the fact that Bai Feng had been consuming most of his wisdom in more than 2 billion years, Bai Gao can make sure that all the words he says are true, but once they are connected, they will become a shocking degree of a big lie. Yes, trust me. In the endless four-dimensional space, overlapping, three-dimensional creatures simply cannot understand the spatial phenomenon. The projections of countless huge one-eyed dry corpse creatures all opened their eyes at this moment. It was as if countless terrible one-eyed beings were densely packed together. As long as you trust me completely, then I will have countless more faithful followers. I will give you endless knowledge, the most precious knowledge in the universe, countless terrible one-eyed twinkles of light. After a moment, it closed again. In this endless cage of space, waiting for a response from the outside world. Three-dimensional reality of the universe. After Qin Sheng got the microscopic cosmic particle three-dimensional printer, he immediately applied it to the construction of the ring star particle collider. Above the giant orb machine with a diameter of 30 kilometers, a light screen appeared, on which a line of words appeared in Chinese characters. Please enter the full design drawings of the construction project. Very simple line of words. Qin Sheng waved his hand, and the light of the data in Andilia's eyes next to him flickered, and he immediately entered the relevant construction drawings into it. The next moment, above the microscopic cosmic particle three-dimensional printer, a fleeting progress bar appeared. Parsing drawings in progress. Parsing complete. Please select a building location. Qin Sheng set the location as a planet in space behind him. This is the planetary synchronous orbit of the planetary system's closest third land planet to the star. After setup, a line of large letters appears on the microscopic cosmic particle 3D printer. Please evacuate your own target on the target planet to ensure that no valuable items are left behind. When Qin Sheng saw this, he ordered the tactical humanoids who were still on the planet, the elite maidens of St. Heli, and the people of the Golden Sparrow Machine Soul clan to evacuate. After all the evacuations are complete, procedural orders are being executed, and the target building is under construction. The next moment, a huge machine with a diameter of 30 kilometers flew at an alarming speed to the synchronous orbit of the planet behind Qin Sheng. A flash of light flashed above the whole machine. A ray of light hit the massive planet. This ray continues to widen as it travels forward. A fan-paneled light screen is formed. The whole planet was swept away. All objects swept by this fan screen light screen. The atmosphere of the planet, the grass and trees above the land of the planet, the rocks, the mountains, the rivers, the oceans beyond the land. Even some of the continental plates above the planet were all transformed into countless grassroots particles in an instant. These grassroots particles are under the action of a microscopic cosmic particle, three-dimensional printer. Shift to the planet's synchronized orbit. How spectacular! Countless shimmering particles are decomposed, and then constantly recombined. It becomes the most suitable material for the construction of the ring star large particle collider, and it is automatically combined again. Almost instantaneously, a giant artificial ring of more than 40,000 kilometers in diameter appeared that surrounded the entire planet, in a synchronized orbit. Orbiting a planet with a mass missing a quarter, it spins slowly. This artificial ring of stars orbits the planet. It's a large ring particle collider. It is not fully built at this time. The engraving and finishing of the next part of the details is difficult and tedious, but it doesn't take long for a microscopic particle three-dimensional printer. Ultimately, a minute or so, it completed the project that took the Great Qin Empire 120 years to complete. The entire giant artificial ring belt, with a diameter of more than 40,000 kilometers and surrounding the entire planet, was completed. It was quiet in space, encircling the planet that was missing more than a quarter of its mass, slowly rotating. The inner wall of the giant artificial ring, facing the side of the planet, there is an artificial atmosphere, a biosphere, etc. that can keep living things alive, and everything is available. It's not just a particle collider, it's a ring-band creation that can live for tens of billions of people. And what was left for Qin Sheng was only admiration. From the performance of this microscopic cosmic particle three-dimensional printer, it can be seen how terrifying the ability to build a real fifth-level civilization is. Peeping leopard in the tube, it can be seen. After the entire project is completed, Qin Sheng sent a message to Bai Zhan. Thanks to the help of our predecessors, the construction of the ring particle collider has been completed. At this point, our civilization can also use this giant structure to conduct physical experiments to further its basic science. Qin Sheng made his message look very happy. In fact, Qin Sheng was indeed pleased. In a short period of time, the project, which is expected to take 120 years, was directly completed. Such a thing, of course, is worth rejoicing. Within the four-dimensional space, Bai Gao finally waited for the message of the Great Qin Empire. Ha 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 ha, yes, that's it. Thank me, then, step by step, take the bait. Qin Sheng also immediately received a message from Bai Gao. It makes me feel happy to be able to help you. Helping you become a fourth-level civilization earlier will also help me get out of trouble. I also have some basic technology of the second-level civilization here, which can be studied in conjunction with the ring star particle collider test. In the four-dimensional space, the terrifying one-eyed micro-eyes of countless overlapping spaces are slightly open, and the inside of them flashes with inexplicable light. Civilized creatures are greedy. Bai Gao was sure that the other party would definitely be impatient to accept what he had given him this time. Compared with the microscopic particle three-dimensional printer sent out before, the second-level civilization technology donated this time is nothing at all. It's like the gap between a sea and a glass of water. But Bai Zhu did not unload in the middle of the sea, but in this small cup of water. This material, it's really attached to some chaotic thought pollution. As long as the other party accepts, the pollution of chaos and evil gods will slowly and unknowingly spread among the other civilization. In this way, wait until one day in the future, Bai Feng can completely control the other party's civilization. So as not to worry about the other party to ask for benefits, the sheep to use directly run. Here, in the four-dimensional space, Bai Feng was happily waiting for the other party to accept the scientific and technological information he sent. Wait for chaos to pollute the minds of the other civilization. But, the time flow rate between the two sides was different, and Bai Feng waited for a long time, and he did not perceive that there was his chaotic thought spreading in the outside world. What's going on? Didn't receive? Did they see what it was? Bai Gao sighed in his heart. Shouldn't it be, with his means, to deceive a small first-level civilization, not a matter of hand-to-hand? Could it be that you are exposed? In an instant, Bai Gao's heart became anxious. If you expose yourself and let go of this civilization, you may wait until this four-dimensional space you are in is destroyed. Can't wait for the next civilization. The Great Qin Empire in the outside world did not actually see that the scientific and technological data storage device suspended in space had chaotic pollution thoughts. After all, the real treacherous gods chose the hidden things of the Great Demon. With the current level of science and technology of the Great Qin Empire, there was no way to detect and discover. The reason why Qin Sheng did not accept that document was two reasons. The first reason was that Qin Sheng already had relevant scientific and technological information leading to the second-level civilization and the third-level civilization level here. There is no need to receive Bai Feng's again. The second reason, that is, caution, Qin Sheng still had some doubts about Bai Zhu's identity. As the first reason said, Qin Sheng did not need to receive the second-level civilization data of Buahua. Naturally, it will not be accepted. In fact, even if Qin Sheng received it, it didn't matter. Under the buff of the Emperor's aura, Qin Sheng and all the races under his command were contaminated with chaotic thoughts. Sorry seniors, our civilization already has information about upgrading technology. Therefore, you don't need your information, and the microscopic cosmic particle three-dimensional printer you gave you before has helped us a lot. I really don't dare to expect more benefits. Qin Sheng's reply to Bai Zhu, in which Qin Sheng molded himself into a kind silly white sweet. It is used to paralyze Cyprus. In the four-dimensional space, Bai Zhu saw it, and his heart was slightly relieved. He was not exposed, although the other party did not take the initiative to receive the information he gave. However, Bai Zhu still had a hand. Floating on the data reservoir in space, there is partly a chaotic thought derived from himself. These ideas are different from ordinary chaotic pollution. It is possible to take the initiative to grow. It is equivalent to the child of Bai Gao. As long as Bai Gao used his power to urge, then you can grow into a new, independent treacherous demon at an incredibly fast pace. In the process of growing up, the new treacherous demon will also listen to Bai Gao's words. Once fully grown, it was not certain whether the new treacherous demon would listen to Bai Zhan's words. After all, between the chaos demons, what kind of affection is said? The son or daughter did not turn around and raised his parents, and it was considered filial piety to be beaten to smithereens. Coax the hall to filial piety, not to mention the cunning treacherous demons. Moreover, this hand means that Bai Feng wants to split his own thoughts, for Bai Feng, who has been worn down in the fourth-dimensional space for more than 2 billion years of wisdom and strength. The damage is also enormous. This is also the reason why Bai Gao is reluctant to use this hand. But now, seeing that Qin Sheng was not hooked, Bai Gao could only use this hand. Even the newborn chaos demon, because the mother originated from him, would be very powerful, no less than the level of the second-level civilization. If you grow up a little longer, you will be able to reach the level of a third-level civilization. However, it must not be allowed to grow to the strength level of the fourth-level civilization. Because of this, the newborn treacherous chaos demon would be out of Bai Gao's control. Turn your head and leave, then don't say help Bai Feng get out of trouble. It is good to fall into the well. Therefore, Bai Zhu set up a certain prohibition. It is a jammer the size of a quark that can secretly interfere with the process of deducing knowledge technology from the newborn demon and making it wrong. Let the newborn demon itself never reach the level of a fourth-level civilization and thus get out of her control. He could only obediently spread the polluting thoughts of Bai Zhu for him, so that Bai Zhu could directly control the civilization in the outside world. Only the level of the fourth-level civilization could help Bai Zhu get out of trouble. Bai Feng was confident that within 200 years, the Great Qin Empire would reach the level of a fourth-level civilization, floating on top of a data reservoir in space. A new consciousness is gradually emerging. This consciousness is born when it is ignorant. He heard a voice. You're going to grow up fast. In an instant, a great deal of knowledge is instilled into this consciousness. From the initial mechanics, friction, to heat, elementary mathematics, to higher quantum physics, to higher mathematics, calculus. It's constantly improving. Nuclear fission, nuclear fusion, controlled nuclear fusion, curvature spatial knowledge. Eventually, the nascent consciousness understood the cosmic string theory. In an instant, I understood the manufacturing method of the cosmic string transition engine. The knowledge content is directly upgraded to the third level of civilization. At the same time, the newborn consciousness was also constantly observing the fleet of the Great Qin Empire in the distance. He saw the beautiful tactical humanoid maidens. The newborn him subconsciously began to imitate and construct his own body. The metal structure of the large reservoir was broken down by him. Moments later, a body modeled after a tactical humanoid maiden appeared in space. This is a girl with a smooth black double ponytail and a very fierce childlike face. My children, go to the front, spread the father's thoughts, help them sublimate their own hearts. Bai Feng's voice sounded, and he saw that he was going to succeed, and he was very excited to order. The black two-ponytailed girl leaps forward in space. She quickly approached the fleet of the Great Qin Empire, but at the same time, she herself was observed by the Great Qin Empire. At this moment, she felt that there seemed to be a consciousness that was even more powerful than her father Bai Hua was looking at her. This consciousness made her heart sink, and infinite reverence emerged. Emperor. Emperor. The ignorant girl called out these two names. Bai Gao was confused. What's going on?